You're a gamer over there? With a gay? Hello there, welcome on in. How's everybody doing today? Ralph with the Octopath donation or contribution. Oh, trying to secure Octopath's lead, but we need some competition in here, alright? We need some help on the Chrono Trigger side of things. Alright, we gotta work on that. I gotta get in some Chrono Trigger lovers into this chat. Get you some competition. It's a little bit too one-sided right now. Lurkin' time, welcome in, Holden. How you doing today? Oh, you are lurking. I guess you do be lurking. Alright, we be vibing. Cool. Let's listen to the songs of your people in the background here. What do we got? So I was thinking about maybe doing some Class 09 today if I don't want to keep talking or anything at some point. So that is on the table. Like, if I don't want to keep reading, there is a Class of 09 possibility. But I'm not going to guarantee it. We'll just say Class of 09 question mark for now. Let me check something real quick. How's the volume doing? It's always a little bit dicey because I gotta change the volume between every single game. Some games are a little bit too loud, some of them I can't change. Like Final Fantasy IX I can't change. It's just how it is. Which is weird, but I think they change it in the sequels after this, so I think that'll be fine. I think it's because it was made for console. It's made for console, right? At least FF9 is made for console. So you just turn down the volume on your TV. But I want to say the other ones. Here, I think 8 tentacles. That probably... Jesus Christ. Somebody get the cat carrier out. We need to fill this shit up immediately. Someone get a spray bottle out too. I need a Vina Vita spray bottle. Or else nothing's gonna get done around here. I think I have a couple extra emote slots. Well, I definitely have animated emote slots up the ass, but like, I don't have any animated emotes except for the head pats one. But I do have a couple slots, maybe? We'll have to check. I think I have a subscriber slot. Who will choose my starting character in Octopath? I don't know. I'll have to see who's available. Who I simp for the most, you know? I only simp for dudes when they're like the slutty, Kuja guy, like in FF9, showing his hips everywhere and, all that midriff and, looking extra feminine. That's when I simp for the dudes. So there's probably only one right answer, like you're saying. We'll have to see about that. We will have to see. What did we do last time in this fucking game? So I remember after the forest fire, we get home. Oh yeah, so they were essentially bullying around Yellowstone, right? And Yellowstone went to Yellowstone National Park. Eve follows her there, or sort of gets brought with her there. And at some point, Yellowstone is like, we could just stay here, like, we could leave the rest of them and just, just chill and not have these expectations put on us. And Eve is like, no, dog, I can't leave my post. So, Yellowstone nearly erupts, and Yosemite and Zion have to come help her, calm her down. Plus, Eve almost dies. But what happened after that? What happened after the Yellowstone bit? Oh yeah, they like ordered the groceries and Jesse came over and somebody got a book from Jesse that she like faxed in. And they're trying to figure out ways to bring back memories because we know that at one point Zion was large and big mommy Zion, and over time she has lost her memories and her abilities, and even her size has shrunk, and she's become infantile. And somebody on the other hand has grown, and now somebody has to take care of them all, but she also has this whole thing that like she's trying to give Yellowstone or Zion dignity, but that was a big portion of it as well, if I remember. I don't remember where we got with that, but I think the last thing we did was the book, if I remember correctly. And we didn't learn too much new stuff about Yellowstone, the educational bit, but it was nice to get an educational bit nonetheless. I always dig them educational bits. But yeah, I think that's where we're at right now. I don't remember much else other than Jesse having back problems and suffering. And also Eve got a bunch of good recommendations from the other park rangers and people in the park, so that was surprising. But Eve's actually kind of doing her job. Kind of. She's not completely doing her job. Oh yeah, it was... Okay. I didn't give a full-on shout-out last time we were streaming. So where are they? Here we are. Let's go shout-out to Kira Sune. Oops, never mind. Try this. Essa Kira Sune. Oh, slash shoutout? Oh, there we go, slash shoutout. Kira Sune. I didn't get to shout them out last time, but they did raid us yesterday with a big party of 32. So make sure you go check them out, see if you enjoy their stream, give them a follow. The juxtaposition of you dying brutally in Colorado on screen, and the cute anime girls in the other. That's how it is around here, man. Just you wait. Just you wait. And soon, I imagine there's gonna be like SS13 in another screen as well. You're gonna have like this set up next to the SS13 like space station RP next to your Hunt Showdown. Was Hunt Showdown what Ratsukari was playing the other night? I think she was. And it was pretty cool looking. It like had really good aesthetics, if I remember correctly. Like that's the one where you have like zombies and like other sorts of crazy shit. Horribly and cute anime. Fuck Doki Doki. Fuck Doki Doki. Even though, what did I say last night? Doki Doki is more engaging than... What did I say it was more engaging than? Maybe Guild Wars 2? Maybe it was WoW. Could have been WoW. Or like maybe something like WoW free trial. I don't remember what I said. You think it was WoW? I don't remember what part of WoW it was. But it certainly was a thing. Also, I'm gonna do a shout out to who we who we rated last night. Leling. Because they're a lot of fun. They had a great stream. They're very helpful, and they organize a lot of events in Guild Wars 2 that are LGBT related. So go check them out if you enjoy them. You don't think you can handle a third monitor? Hey, you can. SS13 is small enough. You can put it. You know, you can manage, or you can have me in a tiny little window, like the size of my chat or something. After all, I am playing a visual novel. You don't need to look as much, even though there are times when you do need to look. 1896 Bayou shooter. So it's the same thing that I saw, like with like the zombos and like giant spiders and shit. It's Code Vein. Code Vein is not that boring, I don't think. Code Vein is frustrating because it's made to be a little frustrating, but otherwise it's okay. But like the cathedral in Code Vein sucks. That shit blows. And trying to do Code Vein like I did without any summon, or without any friendly NPCs, it blows you. It blows. Yeah, it forces you. It sucks. Like it. Oh my god. Yeah, no. Code Vein is great, except for the fact that it's balanced around having a partner. There's an elf on screen. Why would anyone not want to watch? Like, I know you got your sexual fantasies and all, but yeah, the Code Vein would be so much better if it wasn't balanced around your partner. I liked it. I just didn't really want to finish it because it got really frustrating. But you know, maybe I'll do another playthrough sometime where I use a partner and it'll feel more balanced, you know. It's not like Elden Ring, where like Elden Ring I can pretty confidently do it without any sort of summon. I feel like if they balance around soul, yeah. Yeah. I think if it was like more like Dark Souls, where like having a partner increased the HP, and maybe the partners weren't amazing, that would probably be fine. First big boss solo. I did, up until... I got up until the samurai guy solo. The samurai guy is like really late in the game, though. And that guy, I hate him. He's terrible. It's a terrible boss design. But it frustrated me so much that I stopped playing. Poison Lady's real bad without a summon. A lot of them are pretty bad without a summon. But, like, just do the summon. Just bring the summon. It'll be a more enjoyable game. You won't feel like you wasted your money. Speaking of wasting money, I need to look at my Steam wishlist real quick because I put some extra things on there. Well, number one, we have a bunch of Studio Elon games coming out pretty soon. Tithe and Blood, Summer at the Edge of the Universe, and A Magical Girl Mystery. So those are going to be coming out eventually. I know Persona 4 is on my list. Also, 13-2, Lightning Returns, shit like that. What else did I have on here that was that I wanted to talk about? Oh, Final Fantasy II is kind of cheap right now, actually. So Final Fantasy II could be an option sooner rather than later. Even though Final Fantasy II kind of has the shit mechanics like FF8. Although I was talking with a friend and he was saying that he thinks FF8 has worse mechanics than FF2, so... But FF2 has really bad mechanics. Of course, Coffee Talk, Hibiscus, and Butterfly. Coffee Talk 2 is always an option as well. It's just something to think about. Yeah, Persona 4 is on the list. Persona 4 is like $20 right now on Steam. So it is an option to some degree. Oh, Twofold as well. That's another Studio Elon title we gotta hit up. Yeah, Persona 4 is definitely there. Persona 5 is way too expensive, man. Persona 5 is $60. I can't do that. And Persona 4 Reload is Persona 3 Reload is $70, man. $70. It's insane. Absolutely fucking insane. Like, Final Fantasy 16 is $50. And Final Fantasy and Persona 3 is $70. That's insane. Final Fantasy 16, man. Yoshi P. Yeah, Persona 3 is a remake. Exactly. Oh, it's terrible. I have to wait like another 10 years to get Persona games on the PC. It ain't happening, you know? Unless I, somehow came into a bunch of money. Lana's gonna say something in chat like, oh, well, I can come into you first or whatever, I don't know. He's gonna say something like that. I have plenty of games, though. We have some other stuff that I've added onto the list recently. That we'll get to. But also, just a reminder that when I do play Life is Strange True Colors, there won't be a VOD for that because I can't, it's gonna delete the VOD because there's too much licensed music. So I cannot save a VOD for it. If anyone wants to catch Life is Strange True Colors, they will have to catch it live. Unfortunately. Because I am not going to disable the music for that game. That is half the reason you play a Life is Strange game. But yeah, got some other stuff like that too. Only if you want me to. Or if I want you to. Maybe. We'll think about it. What else do I have on the list? Collections. My stream collection is, super empty, right? Oh, wait, never mind. I'm only showing the ones ready to play. I was like, really? I only have this many on stream? Oh yeah, Pillars of Eternity, Dragon's Dogma 1, Disco Elysium, of course all the Life is Strange, and, Final Fantasy games, Octopath, Tell Me Why, Haven, Monster Prom, and Legend of Grimrock. I didn't finish Legend of Grimrock, but I would like to finish it. So we do have quite a few things that I will eventually play. I can always come back to Baldur's Gate 3 at some point as well. I don't know when I want to, but I can always do another run. It's just not high on the priority list right now, you know? But alright, where are we at here? Give me your load. It's right here? Okay. Oh, we're talking on the phone to somebody. Who are we trying to talk to? After what feels like an eternity of listening to genres of elevator music I didn't even know existed, the line finally starts to ring. First once, then twice. On the third ring, some lady on the other end answers. My foot aches from all the impatient tapping.
Yeah, I'd like to check my balance. Checkings.
There's a long pause, but when she speaks, it's a bunch of nonsense words that I don't care about.
No, I don't want the app.
More words.
I don't want the credit card either. Just tell me if there's been any suspicious
Welcome in,
charges.
Kimmy. How you doing? Look at those bottom fingers. The sign that Kimmy's arrived. If we all put our bottom fingers together, then we can summon a rabid Kimmy. She sighs. I sigh. What a pain in the ass. I would give her my account number. My eyes start to glaze over as I wait for her to bring up the info. Over by the counter, Yellowstone squirms and gasps as Yosemite crams what I think are sandwiches into a picnic basket. Right, we're gonna go for a picnic in Zion. I think. Well, not in Zion, but in Zion National Park. She forced the lid shut, a murky rainbow of fruits and veggies spilling over the top. Zion is laying on my bed, staring at the ceiling. Pup is there too, curled up and resting his snout on her. I didn't give either of them permission to be on there, but you know what? I'll let her have it this once. Just because I feel bad that Yosemite is going all dance recital mom on her. Yeah, so Yosemite thinks she remembers what, like, things that Zion likes, but she isn't really correct. But Zion also doesn't want to correct her. So they're going on this picnic for no good reason, and it's gonna be super awkward. The lady on the phone speaks up and starts listing off all my recent transactions. Magazine subscriptions, Sierra Club and ASPCA donations, some bad graffiti artists, medical bills, the usual. But then one unusual purchase. Oh, so the graffiti artist isn't the unusual purchase? Nothing expensive, nothing grand, just an $8 charge to an online bookseller. I sneak another peek at Yosemite. She starts to hum to herself as she folds the picnic blanket in the uneven rectangle, smiling in such an uncharacteristic, joyful way that the skin on the back of the skin on my back crawls. Okay, got it.
All right, that's all I need to know. Thanks.
Before I can end the call, she stops me. What is it now? She asks the question, and if I could, I'd reach through the phone and swat her over the head.
Yes, I know what a smartphone is.
Jesus Christ. She's just like fucking Amber, man. And Juliet. Wait. Do they always have characters like this? Well, I guess Heart of the Woods didn't have a character who was technology adverse.
God!
Oh yeah, hang up my BlackBerry sometimes. I can check that. Can't a person check in with a credit union without any hassles?
God!
At least I know one thing certain now. Yosemite definitely used my card to buy that book, and she probably used my phone to do it.
If you're so dead set on living an archaic existence, you may as well resort to the barter system. Really stick it to them.
The barter system.
You try operating in modern society. I bet you go nuts after forgetting your 5th password.
The fight drains from her eyes. She glances over at Zion, who is now sitting on the edge of the bed, waiting to go. Yeah, hit her with a low blow.
You're probably right.
It's because of weird moments like that I'm not going to chew her out about it. Yet. I was gonna say eat her out about it. There's something going on here. The unsure glances and sad smiles make it as obvious as a slap to the face. So I'm just going to observe for a bit. Wait and see how this plays out. Yellowstone told me she had wandered around for 30 years before meeting up with the other two. These girls have decades of baggage. Just like the rest of us, really. Slap. All it takes is one single clap from Yosemite for both Yellowstone and Zion to rise to attention. Even Pup does it. They're better trained than most of my co-work. But you know who they're not as well trained as? My chat.
It took slightly longer than expected.
I sorta expected it.
She gives the evil eye to Yellowstone. It shuts her up pretty quick.
But it looks like we're finally ready to go.
Hooray!
Tess is doing a good job today. After one line. Zion is the only one to even try and match Yosemite's enthusiasm. Her heart doesn't seem in it, though. She taps the air with a light fist bump.
Yellowstone, can you make sure everything is accounted for?
Yellowstone tears herself away from the clinging picnic basket, which is looking more and more like a waste silo as the food drips over the edges. She forces a smile, her greatest talent.
Aye, aye. Blanket and weights in case it gets windy.
She points to her back and shakes her backpack. I can hear the weights rattling around in it.
Check!
What has she got in there?
Adorable Earth Angel who's gonna have a swell time.
Doubt rings in her voice. She throws Zion a oh my god, Zion. She throws Zion a thumbs up. Zion nods and gives a quick thumbs up back. Yellowstone doesn't look convinced though.
Check! Evo?
I'm actually kind of excited.
Look at her, look at that fucking redness on her face there. Just like Ralph when he posts fucking bottom fingers everywhere. Have to take a drink of coffee real quick, don't mind me. I look down and try to hide the creepy looking grin I know I get when I'm happy. But Yellowstone still notices anyway, and she smiles like she just saw something disgustingly precious. Look at that tongue. Why is her tongue so small, is what I'm wondering here. Yeah, that thing's tiny. She giggles.
Check!
And now it's so large. Just let me be a national park nerd in peace, please. I beg of you.
Yosemite and her, basket of grub.
Why are you so afraid of calling my cooking food?
Check!
She doesn't just skate along to avoid the subject, she skates a full 180 degrees to avoid looking at Yosemite. Ooh, she's rolling her tongue under there? Okay. That's a good theory.
Is Puppers tagging along?
Pup, hearing his name in a mangled capacity, leaps off my bed and bounds over. He spins in circles, rubbing against my leg after every few spins, like his brain can't keep up with his body.
Nah, he's staying here. Just
Yeah, I can
gonna keep
fold
him
my
outside
tongue.
while we're gone.
I'm just like, why would you stick your tongue out folded? I can roll it. I can make a little straw out of it. It's just I don't know why you would stick your tongue out but have it be rolled up, you know? What I mean. Now, without her cuddle buddies, Zion floats off the bed and lands near the rest of us.
I saw him by the campground earlier. Isn't that a little concerning? He's getting awfully used to people.
Oh, woo.
I know, right? Pretty boy thinks he's human. Yes, he does. Yes, he does.
There's a long, uncomfortable silence where my baby talk seems to echo across the cabin. It's only broken up by Pup growling as he tries gnawing on my shoe. Oh my god.
See, no hunting instincts at all. It's fine.
Zion sighs, then digs deep into her hair and snaps off a branch.
Stick?
Oh well? As Pup's head tilts aside, Zion flies over to the door, whirling the stick through the air like a magic wand. She opens the door and Pup scrambles over.
Want the stick, boy? Want the stick? Go get it!
With a pained grunt, she tosses it outside. It doesn't go very far, but it's enough for Pup to chase after it and, more importantly, for Zion to close the door before he can come back. Oh, woo. Look at Yellowstone in the corner there. Tearing up. He starts to scratch and whine at the door. It's hard to resist the temptation to go and let him back in. Fortunately, Yosemite doesn't give me much time to dwell on my broken heart.
So now that the little fluff ball is out of the way, is everybody all set?
Also, thank you. I didn't see any notification for this, but I just thought of it. Thank you for whoever got those Prime resubs in. I noticed that my sub counter went up, but it doesn't actually notify me who unless they do the thing in the chat. But thank you to whoever got those in. I just noticed it earlier today. Oh, don't go that way.
Looks like it, Chief.
Wonderful. Care to do the honors, Zion?
Of course. Where am I taking us to?
Come on. You know the place. Your favorite place?
Oh no, it's getting even more awkward.
It would be hard to have a picnic at Angel's Landing. It's quite chilly up there.
Yosemite frowns and beckons her forehead forward with a finger. She leans in and whispers something in Zion's ear. Her small nose wrinkles in confusion as Yosemite backs away.
Yes? I can take us there, if that's what you want.
It's gonna be some place that's like now a parking lot, isn't it? Yosemite doesn't so much sigh as she does deflate. Not the answer she wanted, I'm guessing.
Okay, everyone. Please hold hands. Miss Eve, I know this is your first time doing it with a group, but don't worry. It's simple.
I've heard that one before.
Sure is. All you gotta do is touch the old bread makers here with the buddies.
All you gotta do is touch the old bread makers. Before I can jerk it away, she grabs my wrist. With her kung fu grip, she forces my hand to Yosemite's. When Yosemite resists, Yellowstone just does the same thing to her.
There. Golly, you two don't have nothing but salt and pepper in ya, huh?
Nothing but salt and pepper. Our fingers interlock. For a moment, our palms touch the skin pressing together. We both loosen our grip immediately and look away from each other. Far, far away, where neither of us have to see each other's stupid faces. Hers definitely being the stupidest. Stupid braggart idiot. SMH in my head. That's what they all say, okay?
What on earth did you do to make your hands so callous? You could light a match on it.
I wish I could throw it right back at her, but her hand is so smooth I can barely even feel the lines on her palm.
Yours feels like peeled tree bark.
Is that your only insult?
It is, and I hope you get termites.
You can at least say something like you never worked a day in your life, or something like that. Like, come on. Yellowstone grabs my free hand and squeezes it. My fingers feel like twigs, bending and cracking in the grasp of Yellowstone's strength. My body flexes as I deal with the crushing pain. Do I like soft hands, Rena? I mean, yes. I don't know why I would prefer calloused hands. In my resistance, I squeeze Yosemite's hand. There's a single snap. She lets out a yelp that sounds just like Pop. Pop.
Girls?
Puffs of black smoke whistle out of the top of her volcano like a steam engine.
Unless the both of ya are cruising for a bruising, let's not turn this into a slobber knocker.
It's gonna be a real hate slobber knocker by the end of this game, I'll tell you what. Hard working? That's what I was saying, though. I was saying the opposite, at least. Right? When I was talking about Yellowstone, or Yosemite for a bit here. I mean, I don't know why I would need somebody to have calloused hands. You can work hard without calloused hands. She says it all through gritted teeth. A dark smile forces itself across her lips and digs into her cheeks, corrupting her usual jolly dimples. A red glow pools from her volcano, and I decide then and there that it's probably for the best to try to avoid any future eruptions.
Capiche?
Capiche? She's having too much fun voice acting this, I can tell. Fucking Marina, like, she's enjoying it too much.
Yay! Take us away, cutie!
Zaya nods and extends her hand to Yosemite. She accepts it and tenderly strokes it with her thumb.
Don't let go, Miss Eve. That would be very bad.
Jesus Christ. She's going off today.
Why am I only being told this now?
Wind rushes up from beneath me, lifting me up into nowhere. All that surrounds me is electricity, like I'm a grain of static on every television screen to off, or every television sign-off screen to ever flicker on a screen. And then I've been living this way. Forever. I'm not breathing. I'm not existing. I'm only moving. And I move into darkness. When I stare too long, vague shapes of constellations and heavenly bodies show themselves. I feel my hands begin to slip out of Yellowstone's and Yosemite's. Before I can let go, my knees hit the ground.
Ugh.
Able to breathe again, I begin shuffling in as much air as I possibly can to my lungs. This wasn't nearly as intense as the other times.
Thank you for flying, Air Zion. I apologize for the turbulence.
Wait.
Is this?
I rub my hands across the ground. Moist soil and dirt cool against my skin. Grabbing a clump of thin wild grass, I let it slide through my fingers. It's yellowish green and thin as wheat.
Zion National Park?
I jump up to my feet, trip, and jump up back again. Spatterings of tall trees extend into the distance in all directions. In the clearing where we're at, the land is nearly bare of them, but the further you go, the closer they reach to each other, and the more of them there are. Until these sparse, almost naked trees combine their presence and merge into a forest. What does that look like right there? It looks like somebody holding their stomach or something. Or it looks like an octopus. With like an eye, glaring at you under there. Take a sip of coffee real quick, I need it. Alright, coffee done. There's an elegance to them, the restrained spacing of their pine needles, allowing them to show off more of their toned and sleek wood. Oh, who in chat be showing off their toned and sleek wood? If their mighty redwood cousins back in the Yosemite are knights and these are fencers. They all accumulate at the base of the mountain, as if it were a place of gathering and worship. The mountain looks alien compared to the natural green of the trees. Its face is a grey mass, but jagged stripes of pink and grey minerals outline it. The unmistakable trademark of Navajo sandstone. Well, don't you give me that. Don't you give me that look in chat there. I can feel you looking disrespectfully. Patternless nooks and overhangs look like they've been carved into the mountainside by an artist with no vision. Something so chaotic and random it can only exist in nature. Yet it anchors this entire forest, presiding over it like a custodian.
Feast your eyes, Ranger. You're looking at the North Guardian Angel.
There's more popular places in the Co-op Terrace.
Zion must feel Yosemite's eyes watching her because she immediately course corrects.
But the Northgate peaks are always so beautiful. Something as simple as sitting between a mountain can really humble you.
You're telling me! Just looking at it makes me feel like a teeny tiny ant floating through oblivion.
Huh. You get that too?
Like clockwork. I just try to push the bad thoughts away.
You know, the universe is going to collapse on itself one day.
La 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 la, not thinking!
Oh my fucking god. Why does she always kill it with her performance, man? Yellowstone plugs her ears and stops her feet to drown me out. Yosemite has wandered off, inspecting the ground for a flat spot clear of any rocks.
Eve, stop inducing an existential crisis in Yellowstone. Yellowstone, could you help me with setting up the food, please?
Okie dokie, Smokey.
Yellowstone prances over to Yosemite, humming a little tune to herself. For someone who is really brushing up against a nervous breakdown, and she sure did recover easily.
But you gotta let me choose the picnic spot. Not just any old ground will do. It's an art.
She's got a dowsing rod on her, I bet.
And I assume you're the artisan?
Yes, indeedy. And you can just call me DiCaprio.
Zion, why you do this to me? She proudly crossed her arms, basking in her status as a skilled homemaker. Meanwhile, Yosemite's basking in the stupidity of what Yellowstone just said.
Do you mean Da Vinci?
The two of them go off, arguing the dichotomy of Leonardo's as they search for a perfect place to picnic. While they're busy doing that, now we have the perfect time to really take in the sights. I take out the camera I stashed away in my flannel pocket. It's a digital one that I bought almost 10 years ago, and still barely know how to work it. But once I get it turned on and triple check it's not set to record, I start snapping away. It's not every day that I get to visit Utah. In fact, the only time I've ever visited has been when I drove through it when I was going to Georgia for my federal training in Glencoe. But I've always loved just how red all the mountains are. There's so much here, but you wouldn't have to go very far to find entire mountain ranges that glow as the entire sunset was projected upon them. There's no other state that looks quite like it. The people are nice too. Yeah, they're all Mormons. I zoom in up close on one of the more interesting spots in the North Guardian Angel. An overhang on the far left. It's curved in such a way that the shadow cast under it makes it look like the entrance to a shallow cave. The wall of the mountain fades into a dull pink at the end of it.
Are you actually happy to be here, Miss Eve?
The grass rustles. I look away from the camera. Zion creeps to my side, twiddling her thumbs and keeping her eyes locked to the ground, as if the simple task of talking to me was a potential risk.
Surprised I'm capable of feeling joy?
Panic sets in as she scrambles to clarify.
Oh no! Not at all!
Hesitance sets in as she realizes she can't.
Well, not entirely.
As polite as ever, I see, even when the truth is inconvenient.
Don't need to sugarcoat it, kid. I know what I am.
Somebody's been watching some Al Gore.
You do?
Whatever she's thinking, I've been called it. Cynical, stick in the mud, hard ass, or as Yellowstone might put it.
Sure. A grump.
Zion jolts up, so far that she floats back to the ground, swinging her head back and forth.
That's a fib! Never ever have I thought you were grumpy, Miss Eve. Just sad.
Damn. Gravity must have gone a little heavier because my arms fell limp at my side along with the camera. I just call her out. Calling me out with that one. Zion is such an anomaly, even when compared to volcano heads and waterfall hair. She's intuitive in ways that most adults are too self-absorbed to be, and she does it with the gentle honesty of a child. Well, she was an adult at one point. As far as I know, she could be both or either. Who knows how years and age even works for these girls. Despite that, it's hard to feel like she's effectively anything other than a kid.
How can I be sad when you're so pretty? This park has sights I couldn't dream of seeing in NorCal.
It's not something I'm particularly good at doing unconsciously, but I try to give her a smile, using my mom as a base of reference. Someone who managed to ascend to sainthood despite raising 5 rowdy kids. Or because of it. Zion can't hide her blush, as pink as a gradient on the mountain. Her usual uncertain courtesy is briefly taken over by a huffy pout.
You really mustn't say things like that, Miss Eve. It's embarrassing for all parties.
I've never really thought about it much before, but she really does sound like a mini Yosemite sometimes. Except Zion's big words have the benefit of not being spoken by a big mouth. So old Leafear's personality doesn't wear off on her too. Old Leafear. Estimating my head now. At least she didn't say knife ear.
But, just so you know...
She lowers her voice to a grave whisper, cupping one side of her mouth to tell me a secret. She waits for me to crouch down. I don't.
It's very possible for someone to feel sad, but to try and hide it by pretending to feel another way.
Uh-huh. And do you think that's what I'm doing?
She SMHs her head again, twice as hard and with twice as many shakes.
Not anymore! Not at all! You seem to smile so much more these days. And you don't sigh as much before going to work now. That one is the most notable. Sighing is the biggest sign of sadness there is. You're still scary, but you've absolutely changed. Now you're nice scary.
I wouldn't say sighing is the biggest sound. I think, ugly crying over Aspen is a sign of sadness too. Probably a more surefire one than that. Man. Please be happy was really a time, wasn't it? Pressing her hands together, she gives a smile, but the way she closed her eyes while doing it makes me think she's just scared to see my reaction. As she should be, because that's hogwash. What's with these campers? What's with Zion? Or Jessie, for that matter? What am I doing now that's any different than before? There's no change in just doing your job, or the stupidest, simplest thing like smiling. That's called being a normal-ass human. Last I checked, it didn't imply something as drastic as going soft, or letting go of the things that made you hard to begin with. I'm not gonna make a comment.
Trust me, kid, I'm just as scary today as I was yesterday. No one stops being miserable overnight. Throw me a bad day and see how nice I am then.
Well, I suppose that's true. But you've been with us for more than a single day, or night for that matter. Change is as gradual as the passing of dusk to dawn, after all.
You still notice the crack of dawn, though. Can't say it looks much brighter than the witching hour right now.
I haven't looked at Dawn's crack for a while, unfortunately, so you'll have to tell me. Zion contemplates this, rubbing her chin like a junior detective.
In that case, you're probably still sleeping. Some people sleep in for an awfully long time.
Don't at me. She glanced over at Yosemite. Her and Yellowstone are arguing over whether Splinter was one of the Renaissance greats or not. Excuse me. I don't know how it got to this point. I don't know how my life got here either.
Zion, are you feeling sad and pretending?
If there's something going on between her and Zion, whatever wordless little struggle it may be, I'm bound to get sucked into it at some point. This is what happens when the entire social ecosystem is crammed into a cabin. Zion's shoulders tense up, then slump down. It's hard to read her expression based off her profile, but when she turns to face me, her tiny hands are clumped up into fists, and certainty steals her gaze.
We do what we can for as long as we can, Miss Eve.
That doesn't sound good. There's a sharp whistle from behind us. We look back and forth of Yellowstone's pinkies are in the corner of her mouth. Talk about skill. On the other end of the spectrum, Yosemite has both of her pinkies in her mouth and is still blowing the air stored up in her lungs into them. But can I do... I still can't do it. I still can't whistle with my fingers, even after Final Fantasy X. Titus lied to me, okay? Nope, can't do it. I'm blowing as hard as I can. Fucking Titus. When she notices us watching, she pretends she was coughing into her hand. On the ground beside them, the entire picnic spread has been set up.
Stew's down, you two! Come and get it!
Yellowstone scrunches her nose.
Say, Yosemite? Don't you mean soup's up?
Come and get it!
Come and get it. Actually, you know what? They're kind of balancing out the screen nicely here, because I'm on the left here with Eve, and they're all sort of scrunched up together. With a small sigh, Zion leaves me behind and starts to walk over to the others. At this distance, I wonder why she hasn't just used her wings.
However long we can take it.
Jesus Christ, Zion. Are you... Okay. I feel like Zion is suggesting that she might be I can't show you the throat slit emote or not emote, fucking gesture, but it doesn't sound good for Zion. It's like she's Benjamin Buttoning to death, you know? And she's just putting up with it. But she knows that, like, at some point, she's just gonna wither away. That's what it sounds like to me.
Coming, Yosemite!
Or that she's just suffering more and more by watching them, and it's making her lose hope. Yosemite greeted Zion with a smile and a small hug, having been separated by the long and untraversable distance of 100 feet. Then she looks over to me, and her eyes go flat like a dead fish. She points at the invisible watch on her wrist. Amazing. Even in moments of obvious internal crisis, she still manages to be insufferable. We lock eyes. I put on a smirk as smarmy as the one she usually wears, then make my way over. Real slow-like.
Gotta say, girls, this place is gorgeous. Maybe even prettier than the park we came from.
I don't mean it, of course. Not with all the memories I have there. But if it'll get under the skin of Yosemite with a prude, then I'll temporarily diss Yosemite the park.
It's cute how you believe your pettiness will fuel my ire, when all it does is serve to further your own rot. Perish, gremlin.
Perish, gremlin. Yosemite, I think you need to go outside a little bit. Yosemite.
Don't use those $20 words of yours to be a Grinch, Yosemite.
$20
Dollface
words.
was just smelling the roses.
Doll face. We always forget about Dollface. Yellowstone, unaware of the psychological warfare occurring in front of her, sticks up for me. This is it. I win. Somebody can't fight back against such oblivious kindness.
And they smell great.
I let the sentence slide out in a whisper, so backhanded I could almost see it slap Yosemite's face. She clicks her tongue and waves me on. For once, a total victory. Finally. Yellowstone might not notice it, but Zion sure does. Throughout all of this, her eyes have been swooping back and forth between me and Yosemite. She uses a lull in conversation to shift gears.
This spread looks like something out of a picture book. Did you set it up, Yellowstone?
Yeah, this picnic is starting off real great. We have existential crises talking about death, and now they're just going back and forth, bashing each other.
Bet your tush I did.
Bet your
That's
tush.
just about the only thing Yosemite would let me do.
Here we go, we got some pictures. We like pictures around here. Aesthetically, Aesthetically, the picnic spread really is perfect. Yellowstone's knack for detail shines, with every paper plate and dish arranged around the picnic basket as if it were a coffee table centerpiece. On all four corners, smooth stones weigh down the blanket to keep it from crinkling up. All that's missing is potato salad and fireworks. Smooth stone, she really went all the way and, cooked it in the furnace first before using it to hold down the picnic blanket. Even the spot she picked feels like it was expertly chosen to create the most all-American picnic experience possible. Right underneath the elder tree with drooping branches and leaves for shade. A spot which I know which spot I'm digging.
Hey,
Whoops.
Hey, Zion. How does the food look? I made all of it. Even the globe mallow gruel that you like. Doesn't it make you
Globe
salivate?
mallow
Doesn't
gruel?
it bring back memories?
Oh my god. Yeah, this is going real well, guys. Salivate. Hey chat, doesn't it make you salivate? Globe mallow gruel. I was on like a cooking website yesterday, right? Because one of my D&D players brought up a, Jesus Christ, you had to interrupt me with that, Lana. One of my players, found this website where they, like, cook different stuff that's themed around various stories and myths and stuff. So there's, like, some Lord of the Rings stuff. There's, like, some Harry Potter stuff, even. You're just trying to get me flustered. It takes a lot more than that. So, like, of course we had, like, the full 8-course Hobbit meal here. Breakfast, second breakfast, 11s, lunch, and afternoon tea, dinner, supper, and dessert. You can't be giving me the look. Looking at me with those big old eyes. But one of them was Scrooge's gruel from A Christmas Carol, and it looked great. It had like oatmeal and like peaches and stuff. Oh, it looked great. somehow this cook made Scrooge's gruel look amazing. But like I was saying to them, Scrooge does have servants. He probably has cooks. So he can pretty much get professional food at his own house, you know? There's also, like, again, the Hobbit meals. You start off with, like, a Dutch baby with Canadian bacon, sausage, and tomato on it. A Dutch baby is what's also called a German pancake. Is like it's a puff pastry that's like buttery, and it kind of sets up like a pizza dough almost, and then you put the stuff on top of it. You have like cheese in there too. It was like, I think like a blackberry tart with something as well. I just remember that the luncheon was like the Plowman's something. And we were all joking about making a character named the Plowman, or like Jesse Plowman or something. What do you think that guy does? Yeah, no, it was fun. We were like looking at the website for like a straight hour when we should have been playing D&D. But anyway, doesn't it make you salivate? Yeah, memories of puking on the blacktop as a kid. In all fairness, it could end up being good, but things aren't looking too hot right now. Some of these dishes look recognizable, but they're all the wrong color. That grits oatmeal porridge thing she made? Yeah, that's orange. It shouldn't be orange. I don't... Yeah, you probably shouldn't have orange in the oatmeal grits. I'm not sure if orange is the right flavor for it, you know. But you know, I don't eat that much grits. Not since I went to the Cracker Barrel last. So yeah, that's all we do, man. That's all we do with D&D. A fruit salad with pine needles as bedding. That's my only guess for the plate next to it. Were these even the fruit Jessie brought over with the groceries? Was any of this? She did the weird disappearing thing while making the food. Did she go and pick whatever she could find? I wouldn't be surprised if Yosemite tried making a fruit salad using... There's like pine cones on there and shit. There's stuff from her own park. Zion observes the assumedly edible substances in front of her and nods.
This looks like you tried really hard, Yosemite. Good job.
Yeah, this is going real well, guys. Ouch, it might be fire season because Yosemite just got burned. But it doesn't seem to bother her. In fact, she's smiling, like her macaroni portrait just got hung on the fridge. Oh, we have best viewers. Good job, Yosemite. It's not Da Vinci or DiCaprio, but you get 2 gold stars. Damn. She's either deranged or resilient.
I'm glad. I was thinking of you the entire time.
Leonardo DiCaprio. She's deranged.
Come on, let me fix you a plate.
Yosemite sits down on the blanket and starts to pile a little bit of everything onto a flimsy paper plate.
I'll do yours next, Yellowstone. Eve, you can do it yourself.
Whatever, I don't want her poisoning me anyway. Plopping down the blanket, I slump against the tree. Call me overly cautious, but I'm gonna observe the reactions of this food before I even consider putting it in my body. Yosemite sets down Zion's plate in front of her. It's a mountain of food, almost as big as the actual mountain behind us. All mished and mashed together. It's taken on the color and texture of ground rainbow trout. Ground rainbow trout. A bastardization of the food pyramid if I've ever seen one. Well, there is rainbow trout in RuneScape. I'll have to go try the mortar and pestle on it and see what that does.
This is a lot.
Of course it is. I know you say you're a picky eater, but the Zion I know would be happy with whatever she got. She would be grateful for simply having food.
Yeah, maybe I'm starting to agree with Eve a little bit here, okay? Yeah, yeah, she's holding up her own fantasies right now.
Mm.
The unhappy cherub gives a defiant groan and pokes at the food mountain with her finger. It jiggles.
Don't give me that. I expect you to finish everything on that plate. You don't expect me to let you starve now, do you?
Oh my god. Before I'm even done leaning over, Yellowstone is waiting for me to whisper in her ear, "Look, Eve is holding me." So you have the three of them all hanging out, and Eve and I cuddling in the background over here. Perfect.
Is starving to death even an option for you three?
We get cravings, but it ain't like we'll croak from hunger. Before these two, I could go weeks without eating.
Ain't like they'll croak. That's what I thought. What kind of fairy tale creature keels over from something as mundane as lack of food? Yosemite always been stuck on her hyperbole, but now she's just playing house. Ooh, house? I like house. I'll watch some house. I mean, also, I can think of... like, mythical creatures that need food. I was just thinking of, like, the, what is that Japanese one? And you have to put the rice out for them. And you can, like, trap them with rice or whatever.
You're right, Yosemite.
Grabbing her fork, Zion plunges into the gelatinous mass. I have to swallow back the old vomit as she slips into her mouth.
Yum. It's so... crunchy.
Oh my god. I want to know what she put in her mouth to voice act that. It cracks like thin bones between her teeth. Oh, Jesus.
Those would be the pine needles. They're quite nutritious.
Oh, I thought they're gonna be like actual fish bone. Like she's fucking like threw a fish in a blender, and it's like, yeah, alright. Yeah, it'll probably be okay. Fit nice fish smoothie for the whatever that is. Look at her necklace, by the way. Zion's necklace is interesting. It looks like I can get that in Final Fantasy XIV. She bobs her head up and down, squirreling away the food in her cheek. You know, I mean, you could definitely eat pine needles, but what did she do with the pine needles? Did she, like, grill the pine needles? Maybe I'm gonna look that up real quick. Can I grill pine needles? Okay, there's only mussels on pine okay, hold on. Hold on here. Mussels on pine needles. Oh, there's no pine. Oh, wait, yes, there is. 2 quarts of dried pine needles. Scrub the mussels out of blah, 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 blah. Fill the perforated foiled pan with pine needles. They should be loosely mounted rather than tightly packed. Arrange the mussels on top. So just mussels on a bed of pine needles. Yosemite was close. What other... Can I barbecue over pine needles? I wouldn't recommend that, no. Let's look up edible pine needles real quick. Edible pine needles. Foraging for pine needles. They are edible, and they are full of vitamin C, apparently. At least if you make it into a tea, but I probably if you eat it, just eat it too. Look at that. So, eating pine needles is a good source of vitamin C.
Mm-hmm. Really hits the spot.
Does that mean you like it?
Zion swallows. The gulp sounds like an anvil settling in her stomach. Then somehow, through all the different shades of discomfort flickering through her eyes, she smiles. Not just smirk either, a bright sunny beam.
I love it. Almost as much as I love you, Yosemite.
Oh, you can definitely swallow them, Ralph. You can definitely. I mean, you should know. I mean, if somebody should know about swallowing, but like, you can definitely just eat them straight up. But I mean, if you're making, obviously, if you're making tea, you don't drink the pine needles, right? You steep them. That would be me. No, I don't know about swallowing. I never heard of no swallow. Never mind. I was gonna talk about how my throat swells up, but Vina, please. You're gonna what? Don't just leave a message at I'm gonna. Jesus Christ. You know what you fill in after that? Is amazing my head. Oh yeah, that's true. I did swallow like 15 popcorn kernels yesterday. Just like straight up. You're not gonna finish? I guess it's an edging party then. But yeah, I did eat like 15 unpopped popcorn kernels yesterday. At the bottom of the bag. I just scooped them all up and it was like a full-on handful and I just like swallowed them. I couldn't swallow like 15 at once. That's a little bit too much. But you swallow like 3 at once, you know? Like, I imagine that's good. Let's see, does it have good, let me look this up. Eating unpopped kernels. Oh, it just doesn't digest. Yeah, it just won't digest. Oh well. Oh well. I guess you could like bite into the kernel, like the unpopped kernel, and break it up, and then it might digest. I don't know, man. I enjoy swallowing them, okay? Well, I have the opposite reaction with boba, where I like to fill up my mouth with like, 10 balls, and then bite into them. It's the weirdest thing. It's completely opposite when I'm drinking boba.
Oh, brother.
Oh,
Where
brother.
art thou?
Me and Yellowstone can only sigh as the performance before us amps up the theatrics. Yosemite buys into it, though. Hell, she might even purchase a playbill during intermission. She swoops over Zion, and her mere presence is enough to make her melt into a soup of unicorns and hearts. If I want balls in my mouth, then I go get some boba! It's that simple. If I want balls in my mouth, I go get boba tea. It's just that easy. Then I can have all the balls in my mouth that I want. Except I don't know a good boba place around here. So I haven't had it in like 3 years. It's pretty bad. I haven't had one since the last time I went to Boston. So, yeah, like 3 years ago was the last time I got boba tea.
Such a sweetheart.
There's a crack in her voice, and the facade. Her breath shakes. She smacks her chapped lips as they quiver. I almost said clap cheeks. She smacks her chapped lips as they quiver.
I'm so lucky to have you.
Oh no. Now you're making it sad. We do what we can for as long as we can. Zion's words seem more relevant than ever as she placed a comforting hand on Yosemite's thigh.
No. I'm so lucky to have you. I'm sorry for being so difficult.
Yeah, first the ball, like filling my mouth with balls, and now the clap cheeks. I'm losing it today. I'm not sure how much good it did, but Yosemite gets halfway to a smile.
You have nothing to apologize for, little one.
She boops Zion on the nose. Her eyes go wide like a flashlight was just shine on her face.
If this doesn't work, I'll be the one that needs to apologize to you. Speaking of apologies.
Yosemite picks up another plate and starts loading it up with more food. Her bangs dangle over her eyes and hide most of it, but a slight blush streaks across her face as she's forced to admit that even she isn't without her faults.
Sorry for taking so long, Yellowstone. You must be getting antsy.
Oh, no, really, it's no biggie. You don't gotta. Okay, you're already doing it. That's fine. This is fine. Everything is fine.
I love her voice actor. Red colors Yellowstone from the top of the volcano on to the tip of her chin. A fresh, wobbling plate of slop is tossed in front of her. With nothing more than a passing glance, Yosemite vaguely acknowledges me.
I meant what I said. Starve.
You're doing me a mercy.
She sticks her nose in the air and returns to attending to Zion. Oh, ever the optimist, Yellowstone scoops up a chunk of the Yosemite surprise and gulps. She's trembling.
Rub-a-dub-dub! At least it ain't mud.
High praise. A gust of wind blows past us as she stares down the fort. Somewhere in the world, a tumbleweed drifts across the desert. Yellowstone is quick to draw, though, and bites down before it can get her first. I don't doubt that it would have. Chew, swallow, gag. The fork falls onto the blanket. Yellowstone limply sits on her knees, staring off into a safe place far from here. In her eyes are the reflections of every disaster and atrocity to ever scar the earth. The Black Death, Hindenburg, JFK, and Dallas. I see it all.
That bad?
About what I figured.
She doesn't look at me.
So, what's the problem?
Dunno. I guess some things just really take the Simon out of your Garfunkel, you know?
I wasn't expecting that. The distance between me and her may as well be from the sun to the moon. I do what I can to give her one solid pat on the shoulder. You gave Yosemite the benefit of the doubt, kid. There's nothing else you could have done.
Well, let's just stuff that trauma away for another day.
Wow, this really is how she copes. Isn't it how we all cope?
For now, it's time to hatch Plan Y.
Plan Y? What happened to the other 24 plans?
They don't exist. The Y stands for Yellowstone.
Jesus Christ. She takes a quick glance at Yosemite, who is currently wiping crumbs off of Zion's face. With the coast clear, she does a small fist bump as she starts digging around in her volcano. I feel nothing as I watch her arm go elbow deep inside her own head. I wasn't expecting to read the words elbow deep in this visual novel, but here we are. Only emptiness gnaws at the pit of my chest as her tongue wiggles out of the corner of her mouth, as if she's struggling to find gum in her purse.
Aha! Bingo!
Like a magician whipping a rabbit out of her hat, she lifts out 2 Ziploc baggies with sandwiches inside of them. Alright, those emotions I wasn't feeling earlier, I'm feeling all of them now, viscerally. She doesn't expect me to eat that, right?
Not to be a stick in the mud, but I kinda saw this coming. So I did a little prep work in advance. Hope you like tuna salad.
I don't like tuna salad. I don't like tuna, okay? I don't like tuna. Because it's gross. It smells bad. I don't want it. I'll starve, it's okay. Oh god, she actually does. She tosses me one of the baggies. The heat melts to my skin as soon as I catch it. I play hot potato with it, passing it between my hands until it's cool enough to actually handle. Why do these girls keep throwing more bizarre concepts at me to accept? This time literally. Wait, is it always warm inside Yellowstone's head? I thought her volcano only acted up when she got angry, but the bag felt like it was nuked in the microwave. I look up from the baggie and at her, trying to get a good read on her mood. But she's just staring at me expectantly, waiting for me to shove this head sandwich down my gullet. Yo, who wants to get a head sandwich today? Yo, how rude would it be to ask Yellowstone, hey, can I feel around in your volcano real quick? Can I stick my hand in your, down your big volcano hole? Just to see what the temperature is like in there. Do you think that would be rude? I've spent enough time with Yellowstone to know that she bottles things up, though, to a point where she explodes when letting out her feelings. Maybe this Yosemite and Zion business just has her irritated. When it comes to all three of them, I'm always doing guesswork.
You're gonna be so jazzed about this sandwich, EVO. I spread lots of brown butter on it.
We so jazzed about this sandwich. Butter and tuna? I've never tried that and I don't want to. Does butter go well with tuna? Oh no. This seems like a bad idea. I mean, maybe on the fish. Like on the actual fish, the butter would go well, maybe. I don't know. I don't eat tuna. Okay. I don't like it. I can't do it. I don't like eating meat from a can.
Are you trying to clog my arteries before I'm 30?
Butter my buns and call me a biscuit.
There's always
I want some
Yosemite
biscuits.
scrub.
You heard the word butter? It's alright. She says it with a grin on her face, but she may as well be telling me that death is the only viable option. Yosemite sneaks a peek at us after hearing Yellowstone's comment, but turns her nose up as soon as I notice. Looks like someone's salty about the fact that the people witnessing her holding a small child emotionally hostage don't want to eat her trash. Someone's salty. I'm glad that she said salty.
Well, bottoms up, I guess.
Bottoms up. I open up the bag and take up a sandwich. Melted cheese and tuna ooze over the crust. The bread is fake, flaky, and firm, and it all looks delicious, and I hate myself for eating like this every day, but I'm hooked at this point. Chemically addicted. When I bite into it, the juices from the tuna flow into my mouth. For a brief moment, I decide life is worth living.
What the hell? It's evenly cooked, too. You're just toying with my taste buds now.
Ah, that's a side effect of the old noggin. To be honest, I wanted it to be fluffy and light. The ultimate picnic food.
She slides in closer to me, her downcast gaze fading into a knowing smile as she signals her victory.
But as long as you dig it, I guess I can let it slide.
Thank you, Yellowstone National Park. Bringing a whole new meaning to the term brain food.
Is there anything else that head of yours can do?
Oh yeah, a whole bunch of neato stuff. It's even a handy dandy.
Oh god, please don't finish that sentence. Please don't tell me what your head can do. She grabs the plate of Yosemite Delight in front of her and tosses it into her head. Yes, including the paper plate.
Insult me.
You have split ends.
What did I say last time? I was like, Yellowstone has the lungs of somebody who could play an Elden Ring or voice act an Elden Ring character. Holden, you know about who I'm talking about. You know who I'm going off about. She has the lungs that could do that. She could easily play gender-bent Godric. Or, who's the guy that's like, curse you, Bale? You know who, I don't remember what his name was. But I just remember that he exists. Lava surges from her head. The sound of an explosion drops like a bomb. Heat warms my face as if I were a mere inches away from blazing fire. Yosemite and Zion turn their heads up in the harsh orange light coloring their faces. When the lava geyser plummets back into her head, they go back to what they were doing, unfazed.
Garbage disposal! Ta-da!
Horrifying.
And oh so convenient!
Well, she's got me there. Yellowstone pulls open the bag, but only takes the sandwich halfway out, instead using the bag as a crumb catcher like a burrito. After taking a few bites out of it, a simple smile spreads across her face. Her posture relaxes and she melts further into the blanket. I guess decent food can change anyone's mind for the better, even someone as cheery as Yellowstone. She still glances over at Yosemite and Zion from time to time, observing the suffocating maternity of it all. But even that's a little more subdued now. Yosemite rests her chin on her clasped hands, watching Zion poke and choke down her own food. The kid has gotten so used to it by now that she almost makes it look natural. And for a while, we all just sit there and munch away at our food. A soft breeze whispers through the valley, rattling the leaves above me. I look up and stare at the clouds through the dancing branches and watch them drift away into the sky's faded blue forever. With a deep breath, I draw in as much of the fresh air as I can and let it fill my lungs. It feels like a cleanse. Then I close my eyes and just soak it in. Oh, we got more of this. Hey Teddy, it's me again, your favorite prisoner. Right now I'm in Zion National Park, courtesy of the obvious. Yosemite and Yellowstone are here. Ooh. I like the lo-fi beats we got going right now. Yosemite and Yellowstone are here too. Having a picnic right now. I wish I could write good things with the food, but unfortunately Yosemite decided she's due for a crisis and made it all herself instead of letting Yellowstone do it. I haven't tried it. Apparently it turned out well, as you would expect. There's something going on between Yosemite and Zion right now. Don't know what, but it's starting to feel like a bomb is about to go off. These girls sure are too human for their own good. Ooh. And it got me wondering, when was the last time I've done something like this? Just sat underneath a tree and enjoyed the moment? Or have enjoyed something, for that matter. Actually enjoyed it. Not the relief of a good cup, but experiencing something in a way that penetrates through the fog. That makes me feel like I'm living and not just shuffling through life until I wither into the ground. Comfortable silence. Nature in its eternity. Seeing a mountain and knowing it was there before I was born and that it'll stay there long after I'm dead. Feeling tiny and grateful in a world that's far larger and more significant than my ego could ever be. These are my favorite things, and these are the things I enjoy. And yet expressing them, experiencing them, and even feeling them, I'm scared to do it, Teddy. More than in the middle of defeat. I'd be making myself vulnerable. It doesn't take much either. A bad day, a bad encounter, a bad person. Life has a way of making you resent the things you love. Wouldn't it be better? I even do a fucking tongue twister about this, okay? Wouldn't it be better to bury and forget about them? Maybe dig them up every once in a while to get a small glimpse so you don't go completely insane. Yeah. I'm really hoping that at some point in this story that, Yosemite finds the journal and reads through it. That's what I'm hoping. Because I feel like there's only two ways that Yosemite could take it. One is that she could use it as a manipulative tool, or she could start to see Eve's humanity through it. And I feel like Yosemite isn't quite evil enough to use it as a manipulative tool, but she could. But I want it to happen because I want Yosemite to have a moment where she understands the extent of her humanity. She did for a bit. There was a small stint in there where Yosemite had like empathy for her, and it kind of went away. But it only went away because Yosemite herself has been becoming more combative and more angry and upset and sad, and she takes it out on everybody else. So I don't know if it, like, she has it in her to do good, but like she takes out her anger on everybody else in a similar way to how Eve can often project her anger onto other people. Right, but if Yosemite was to read this, it's hard for me to believe that she wouldn't feel very empathetic for her. When I look up and see these three girls, the very embodiment of the green fields and pink mountain cliffs surrounding them, I start to doubt everything I've just written. Yellowstone is so nurturing, biting her nails simply because she couldn't give anyone a good meal. Zion does her best to make people happy, even if it means eating a plate of their obvious desperation. And Yosemite, for all her flaws, is always grasping at knowledge. Sometimes she just grabs a handful of straws instead, but all she's looking for is truth. Or maybe I'm too afraid or too tired to be. They're everything I'm too afraid and too tired to be. Or maybe everything I was. I could be that. I could go back to that. I could. Do I want to, though? Am I brave enough to actually take that step, Teddy? What stops me or anything else that could go wrong from reverting back to how things are? Nothing, that's what, nothing at all. I wipe the sandwich crumbs off the page and clap Teddy shut with a sigh. Usually I come away feeling better after journaling, but I guess when I do it while in a good mood, it just has the opposite effect. I'm never gonna be content, huh? Zion stretches her tiny arms to the sky as a yawn squeaks out to her. Well, to be fair, she is rather contemplative right now about very difficult topics, and, you know, it's obviously she's going to have some amount of cognitive dissonance between what she knows she can be and what she acts like she can be. But I think that's something that a lot of us can relate to. The disparity between what we think, how we know we can act, but how we do act. But it isn't always in our control to not act that way. Right? There could be circumstances that force us not to act the way that we want to act. And more importantly, you know, Eve's got a fight to fight, you know? She's got a little battle to fight, and that's more than just societal. It's more than just social. It's a complex matter that it involves, you know, brain chemistry. It involves a lot of different things. Familial life. It's not going to be easy. It's not like she can flip a switch. And that's kind of the case with everybody. Zion stretches her tiny arms to the sky as a yawn squeaks out of her.
All done! Thank you very much for the food.
Her plate is empty enough for me to believe she actually licked all that slop clean. Just how dedicated to Yosemite is this little squirt.
That's my girl! You make Yosemite so happy!
Is that a Highway Blossoms reference? How Tess always got called Squirt by Mariah? That feels like a Highway Blossoms reference. Zion wrinkles her nose. Maybe she's even surprised by how much she's getting babied compared to usual.
Okay. Well, if you're happy, then I'm happy. I think.
Unable to bite down on her bottom lip any harder, Yellowstone speaks up.
Zion, you don't have to.
Yellowstone, please!
Somebody's voice spikes and comes back down with a crack.
Please, let me do this.
At first, it doesn't seem like her pleading is going to work. Yellowstone takes in a breath to let her have it, but she deflates as soon as Yosemite turns to us. She doesn't say anything. Her damp eyes do all the talking. She forces a shaky smile and turns back to Zion.
So, how are you feeling now?
Yeah, like, Yosemite's so reliant on feeling like she succeeded at this whole, like, motherhood job. but it's not something that she really can. She absolutely can't do it alone. No matter how happy of a tone she puts on, her labored breath makes every word ring with hollow desperation. I think more than that, she's reliant on the belief that she has that she still has everything under control, that she has her memories, that she knows what's going on, but she absolutely doesn't know what's going on. She's lost too many memories, and she can't rely on herself. Or on her, like, she can't do it all by herself. But she would never admit that she can't do it all by herself. Need some water real quick. My throat's really, something else today, huh?
I'm not sure. A little queasy. I think from the food.
Whatever facade Zion was trying to keep up for Yosemite's sake is starting to fall apart. Even a simple act of looking at Yosemite seems too much for her to bear, and her voice starts to crumble.
But did it remind you of anything? Did it make you nostalgic? I don't care if you liked it or not. All I want to know is that it worked.
She breaking.
Please, tell me it worked.
She breaking. Yosemite fires off strings of panic. They come shooting out of her mouth as quick as they exit. Whatever all of this has been building up to, it's coming to a head. Can't say I'm happy to have a front row seat into it.
I'm sorry.
No! What did I tell you? Don't apologize. Nothing is accomplished that way.
Zion winces as Yosemite's fingers grip into her shoulders. But through squinted eyes, droplets of tears start to fall from her lashes. She can't squirm away. Yosemite's forcing her to look at her, to witness a sad performance face to face.
Please, Yosemite, I don't understand.
Why not? You must remember something. It can't just all be gone.
I don't know what you're talking about. All I want is for you to be happy, Yosemite. Please tell me how to make you happy.
What the hell is this? Yeah, I know, right, Eve? Jesus Christ.
I need you to tell me that you remember this place.
It feels too personal. It feels too visceral.
That you can remember me hiding in bushes and staying until we could see the stars.
She shakes Zion. Like if she does it hard enough, all the information will just spill out of her.
Tell me the story, Zion!
I hate it.
I don't know what story.
Cut the crap, Yosemite! Whatever you're trying to do isn't working!
And it's I already talked about earlier, the connection with, like, Alzheimer's disease, right? And other sorts of memory loss, dementia. I already talked about it, and it feels like it's like a very blatant parable in certain ways for that. And it feels like it was written from the perspective, or written from somebody who experienced that very closely, and there's like a plea in there. As with a lot of situations of grief, there's like this the bargaining stage, of course, and not everybody goes through the 5 stages, and not everybody goes through them in the same order as everybody else. But like bargaining is a pretty ubiquitous one that occurs somewhere. Yeah, kind of mother, kind of friend, but has to see them every night. Yeah, exactly. It's just, well, kind of an ego death almost of that individual. And again, we're sitting here in the bargaining stage, unable to go any further. And again, you don't need to go through every stage of grief. And the stages of grief happen at different times for different people. Some people might be angry at first, some people might bargain, some people might be depressed first. But yeah. She ignores me. Oh, 2000 a chrono trigger. We better get that chrono trigger going. Welcome on in, Pi, by the way. He came in for the sad shit. We gotta get more channel points into Chrono Trigger. We gotta put up a fight against the Octopath crew. She ignores me. Nothing I said broke through. Not that I don't want to play Octopath, but I want to see them. I want to see you guys duke it out. Nothing I said broke through. I'm not even sure she heard.
Then tell me what you remember!
You're broke now? Hey, you'll get him back.
Tell me how you feel!
Scared!
That was a very quiet boom there, Yellowstone. A very quiet eruption. Especially for that big boom in the chat box there. A cloud of ash plumes out of Yellowstone's head. She jumps to her feet. A familiar wave of heat pushes towards me. My ears pop like a jet got too close to the ground and broke the sound barrier.
Put a sock in it, Yosemite!
Oh, hydrate. I'll hydrate real quick. Just gotta make sure. Gotta lurk. The more lurking, the more channel points, the more that we can boost up Chrono Trigger. Yellowstone's fury is carved into her face. A deep scowl etched in lines from her nose to her lips. Magma seeps over the top of her volcano and streams down her head. If somebody sits there in a daze, her grip on Zion's shoulder is now just a limp hold. Zion doesn't even need to break away. She rushes over to Yosemite, to Yellowstone, and buries herself in her stomach, sobbing into her jacket.
I know what you're trying to pull, and I get it. It breaks my ticker too, but this ain't right. Zion felt bad for you. I felt bad for you. It's the only reason I let this go on for so long. But you did what you always do and took it too far. She don't even remember anything, and you still did it! Well, listen here, Missy. You can throw your weight around when it comes to the rest of us, but I ain't gonna let you do it to Zion! If you actually care about her and aren't just being a selfish square, then you'll leave well enough alone.
A corpse should be left well enough alone. How does the magma work? Like, it said the magma rolled down her face. Like, is she just, like, does she have fire immunity? As per, D&D rules? Yosemite, her hands still stretched out, brings them in and takes a long, horrified look at them.
I didn't mean...
She can't finish her sentence. Yellowstone glares at her like a beast shielding its cub from a hunter. She switches over to me, but I look away.
I'm so sorry.
Words tumble out into hoarse whisper. Yosemite scrambles to her feet and runs off into the forest, disappearing in the thick of the trees. Everyone always runs out into the forest. You notice that? Everybody's always bolting out into the woods and could get into all the different trouble. We always have to go looking after them. They never run off somewhere where somebody else can catch them easily or know where they are. Everybody's taken after Miho. When all is silent, Yellowstone lets out a long sigh and flops back down in the blanket, bringing Zan with her, still nestled in a tight hug. Most of the lava has dried already, but clumps of smoke still wisp from her head like a candle was just blown up.
So, are you going to give me an explanation?
Not now, Eve. It ain't a good time.
Ain't a good time. Yellowstone strokes Zion's hair, combing out any stray leaves that have grown in. Zion clings to her in balls, the tears streaming down her round cheeks like waterfall. Oh, what a nice rhyme.
I
Balls and waterfalls.
I just wish she wasn't hurting so much.
Don't we all, Zion? Don't we all?
Why is it so hard for her to be happy?
Yeah, that little character parallel there with this line right here. Specifically trying to draw the, why is it so difficult for you to be happy from Eve, and why is it so hard for her to be happy from, Yosemite here? The last one hits hard enough to knock the air out of me. Why is it so hard to be happy? Please be happy. That's the next game. We already played that one. This is the prequel to Please Be Happy, which is why it's so hard to be happy. We go from depression to bargaining. For me, it's because I think too much. The downfall of mankind, really, but Yosemite? The pain in the ass who prides herself in having all the answers? The one who's always going around telling me how I should live my life? What's her malfunction? Does she get to have one? After being so insistent about being right all the time. Acting all high and mighty makes you some kind of bastion of wisdom and foresight. No, I won't let her. She doesn't get to be unhappy. That's a change in Eve right there. She doesn't get to be unhappy, is what Eve said. Which, in a way, Eve's coming from a place of, like, she doesn't get to, like, receive all this empathy for being sad, is what she means to say. But instead, Eve says she doesn't get to be unhappy, which implies Eve wants to make her happy. Not after sitting across the table from me every morning and butting her way into my head. Not after stumbling over her ego enough to make me think she might actually get it in some small way. And not after making Zion cry.
Could you get out of Dodge for a bit, Eve? We need to be alone
Get out of
for a minute.
Dodge.
Sure. Was just about to go for a walk anyway.
Crack my knuckles, leaving Zion and Yellowstone the ruins of the picnic. With my eyes towards the forest, I follow in the direction Yosemite ran in and trample across the field. I'm swallowed by the shadows of the trees as I hug deeper into the forest, dodging low branches and paving new paths where people may have not treaded in decades, if ever. Unfamiliar birds chirp from every direction as I wrestle through their home. The soil is moist and dark here, my boots sinking into it with every step I take. Every step you take. One would think that would make it easier to track down Yosemite, but it's like she has no environmental impact at all. Zero carbon footprints and not even trampled grass. For a second, I start to think she zapped herself back to the cabin. But then, between tangled branches, I catch a glimpse of her blue hair. It's not true. She does have a carbon footprint. She used a cell phone. Therefore, she's evil. These girls sure have a way of running off into the woods and they don't want to confront reality. I know, right? I swat away the leaves and march to the clearing. She tenses up, her pointed ears twitch, then her shoulders relax.
Here to lecture me, I see.
As a matter of fact.
Don't waste your breath. I know what I've done.
I'll use my breath however I damn well please, including to chew you out.
Escalating as always.
How about my fists adjust your definition of escalation?
See, that's your problem. When you get the emotion bug, you have no clue how to quarantine it. So you lash out and punch people in the face. It's
Quit the charade!
Clenching my teeth, I groan and stomp the dead grass over and over. I don't punch trees. That's all I can do.
What the hell was that back there, huh?
Eve refuses to play Minecraft. Yosemite freezes, her eyes unblinking as I finish kicking the dirt and catching my breath. I'm not sure which one tired me out more. It's so much different being angry all the time. So much. Why do caring and not caring have to be so hard?
It was desperation, I suppose.
Her ears flatten, and for an unshielded second, her arrow-straight posture slinks too.
No. More like panic. A flash of it all at once. When you break, and you feel you need to take an action. Any action. Or get swallowed by it.
Is it a Zion thing?
It's more than that. It's a crisis of dread rooted in existential...
Is it a Zion thing?
It's a Zion thing.
She finally admits something with actual clarity and not vague poetry.
And what did Zion do?
Nothing. She's done nothing. She's as kind and nurturing and wonderful as she always has been. For as long as I can remember. Most likely before that, too. I'm the one who causes the issues. Who thinks too much, says too much, tries too hard in all the wrong ways. Bet you know that by now.
I can kind of hear the Sela in her voice. But again, it's so, and I guess Lena by extension, because Lena and Sela are pretty much the same voice of hers. But she is, I say it every single time, she's very good at having a different, timbre altogether.
Glad to see you've developed some self-awareness.
I've always had it. It's just easier to suppress it than elaborate on it.
Isn't that the truth? The first time she may have said something it's actually hard to argue with. And when I see her like this, sulking in the middle of a clearing, like a kid lost in the woods, too deep to know which direction to take next, it's enough to make me agree with her. There's always been something weird going on in Zion, since the moment they all burst out of the closet pretending to be ghosts. The way they talk about her, how they treat her, we'll baby her, sure, but there's a real reverence there too. Not too different, but to how you might treat a grandparent or someone fading away in a nursing home. See, they just spelled it out right there. They spelled out the thing that I've been saying for the past 7 hours of gameplay.
Yosemite.
I could hear her drawing a sharp, steadying breath.
What happened to Zion?
She exhales. Her body comes out in spurts and sputters. Her breath comes out in spurts. Yosemite running on empty.
What happens to everything? Time.
My knee-jerk reaction is to berate her for not just spitting it out. But then I remember something. Things both Yellowstone and Yosemite have said. That Zion can't help out like she used to. Yosemite feeding me some mumbo-jumbo about human perception shaping reality. That comment I made about park puberty might not have been too far off. Yellowstone, I hope you got something on under that skirt.
She's changed?
Yosemite turns, not enough to face me. I don't think she can manage that right now. All I get is her side profile. The sunlight breaks through the branches above us and glistens on the pebbles specked across her face. A tear twinkles from the corner of her eye. Is this the same song that's in Heart of the Woods? It sounds like it. Doesn't it? I think it's the same composer, but this sounds like it was taken out of Heart of the Woods, specifically.
So much. And she used to be so much. So much.
Her fists clenched, fingernails digging into her skin. The words seemed to linger right behind the tongue, unable to come to her. She tossed her hands through her hair until it looks like a mop.
So much more than she is now. It's completely and utterly unfair.
Voice cracks. The wind whistles through the circle of trees surrounding us. It's as if her breathing, scattered and heavy, is opposing the breeze. It's uncomfortable, seeing this kind of vulnerability from her. How do I stop this? Or is it part of me that just wants to laugh in her smug face and tell her to get over it? That sulking in the forest isn't any way for the queen bitch to present herself. It would usually just come right out of me, without a second to even filter through my head. But right now it feels like all I want is to know. What brings the being I look at on the opposite side of the table every morning to this state.
What was she like?
My voice probably comes out softer than I expected. In the last 5 years, I've probably only used that tone of voice for pup and random critters I see off on the side of the trail. If somebody turns her head to me, her eyes slowly narrow, looking me over. She raised her brow, suspicion puppeting every subconscious move her body makes away from me. I frown as I notice it. Her ears flicker, eyes going from narrow to wide with surprise. She quickly glances away, back to the side profile. She wanders a few steps closer.
She was like the forest, tall and wise and dignified.
Yeah, tall is also a descriptor, is also the first descriptor I use with certain women.
If there was something to be known, then she knew it. Every creature, story, and act of nature. If it was within her bounds, she lived alongside it and advocated its spirit. And when she found me, I was included in those bounds as well. All of me. The valley and everything else.
If somebody's always told me my thinking was too linear, I told her she didn't make any sense. When she says these things out loud, things that should sound far off, almost ancient, I think I get it. As well as I can understand things that might actually be beyond my comprehension. Feeling so far in my depth I may as well be in the Mariana Trench, I crack an uneasy chuckle.
You make her sound like an actual angel.
If you had known her, you would have thought she were a goddess.
Yosemite snaps in my direction, biting off a small chunk of the conversation. Immediately she cringes. It makes me wonder if that means she actually feels regret. But of course she does. Of course she does. The lull comes to an end with a chuckle of her own. Just one though, nervous and solitary.
Her wings used to be bigger, you know? Well, all of her was bigger, I suppose. But her wings could stretch out as far as she was tall. Sometimes they seemed big enough to block out the sky. She used to wrap me in them. Her feathers were like clouds and she was warm. And she would look down at me and talk. Teach. I remember it. The images are getting fuzzier and fuzzier. But I can still remember how it felt. But she can't.
Now it all comes together. The story she was so desperate to hear. This whole outing.
The picnic didn't jog her memory like...
Whoops. Oh, go back. Why don't you go back?
But she can't.
The picnic didn't jog her memory like you wanted. Is that it?
There has to be something that can. I don't want to accept that all of it is just gone. If she forgets herself, and then I forget her, then what proof will there be that any of it was real? That she was real?
Sounds like you need to keep a journal, Yosemite. Poor Zion. Not because she's forgotten herself or whatever, but because Yosemite can't accept the her that she is now. That her entire existence is deemed invalid because of Yosemite. How Zion must be forced to play along simply because of Yosemite's feelings. Now I get why Yellowstone was so upset.
That's real screwed up.
All she knows is that you have high expectations, and you'll be sad if they aren't met. If she can't even remember anything, then how can you expect her to ever meet those? It's a litmus test, and a crummy one at that.
I'm ready for her to throw something right back at me, but she hardly reacts.
Call it what you want. Doing nothing would have been a betrayal to everything she did to make me who I am now.
But I think Eve is right, though. I mean, they both have their points, but Eve is right in that if you can't accept her how she is now, then you might as well not accept her at all.
The only other option is to accept that the Zion who was real to me has been obliterated.
She starts for the other end of the clearing, further from the picnic than before. Then she stops at the mouth of two trees.
You might not believe me, but I am sorry that you were dragged into this. I know I'm selfish, angry. I don't mean for it to infect everything.
I call out to her, straining my voice so she can hear me loud and clear from the other side.
You're only selfish if you can't accept her.
She glances over her shoulder.
Would you?
The shade engulfs her as she fades back into the forest. What's the Emmett Selk line at, in Khaleesi? Wouldn't you wish for the same? And like, yes, everyone would wish for the same. He says, for our people, for our something, for all creation be made whole again. Wouldn't you wish for the same? Oh, it's not in Khaleesi, it's in the, it's in Katana. But yeah. That's what I got there from that. And the answer is yes, everyone, we would wish for the same, but we also know that she's only dragging herself down further. And that at some point you have to come to accept that things are not going to go back to the way that they were, no matter what you do. I was just like, I don't know, I just saw a little parallel there between the end of those two scenes. Especially with like the walking out. Kimmy with a 4,000, a chrono trigger. Hell yeah, well 2,000 more. Hell yeah, Kimmy. When she's gone, the breeze stops. Birds return to the clearing, chirping as they warm themselves in the beams of sun spotting the ground. A long sigh heaves out of me. Oh, hydrate, thank you. I'm just spending everything today. And look, for donating to Chrono Trigger, I'm gonna give you head pats real quick. There you go. Head pats for like 10 seconds. A long sigh heaves out of me. I didn't even know I was holding my breath. I lean against the rough bark of the tree I thought about punching earlier. The thought strikes me again now, but despite all of that, I still can't bring myself to do it. Can't make that change. Punch that tree. Read those letters. After all, if the real Zion was obliterated through change, then why would I ever commit to it?
You can't go out, not when the weather's so nasty.
Nasty. A flash of lightning blots out the world just for a second. It might not be too far away either, because thunder crashes outside as if it were right up in my ear. The entire cabin shakes.
The weather wouldn't hurt me, Yellowstone. It wouldn't hurt you either.
Pup whines, trembling beneath the table as he sits on my feet.
So, that don't mean I'm not allowed to worry. First Yosemite runs off, and now you too. It just ain't right.
Nasty. I finish reading another form, then tear it in two.
Oh, please. Stop pretending like you're human. Anyone would get sick of the charade going on inside this cabin after long enough.
Yellowstone shoots a pointed glare at me. It gives Zion just enough time to open the door and slink into the patio. The wind is so harsh it blows the rain into the cabin.
I'm sorry, Yellowstone, but I need to think.
Hey! Wait!
The door slams shut, leaving Yellowstone to stare at it, her hand still stretched out for Zion.
That was a real crummy thing to say. We might not be human, but we have feelers that work just as well as yours.
Sorry to hear that.
I unfold the next feedback form and read through it. This one is from a Robert Sanchez, who wanted to extend his thanks to the ranger who walked with him to the river. I remember this geezer. He was looking for a specific spot his wife liked coming before she passed. It rips in half without each up. Jesus Christ. I take the two halves and rip it again, this time into 4/4. She had no holds barred, just fucking Yeah, it was about, I went to help some guy remember his dead wife. Rip.
Just take advantage of not being human. It's your biggest strength. Don't have to worry about the same crap we do.
That's a fib. If we're strong, it's 'cause we're so much like people. That's the way I see it.
Don't look so smug. If Yosemite's collective consciousness mumbo-jumbo is right, then you three came from people. That's a tragedy, if you ask me. Rise above it.
You just keep being a negative Nancy. I'll keep being a correct Kathy.
Correct, Kathy. She folds her arms and smirks, doubling down on her smugness. But the smirk softens, dissolving into a genuine smile. If she was offended by my cynicism, then she's already moved on from it. That's the thing with Yellowstone. She's always being saddled with everyone else's negativity. Maybe she never actually does move on from it, just packs it away somewhere inside her, only letting it all bust out of her when she can't contain it anymore. Oh yeah, same, man. Same. And smiling until she can't.
Sorry.
I don't even unfold and read the next forum. Just rip it.
No big dealio. We've
Dealio.
all had a rough go of it today.
She takes the chair Yellowstone usually sits in and spins it around before squatting in it backwards. She tips it back and forth, 2 legs always up and off the ground.
We know who to thank for it, at least.
I can't talk right now. The front 2 legs of the chair slam down onto the floor. Yellowstone's bottom lip quivers with sudden horror.
Me?
Not unless you're 6 feet tall and have blue hair.
Oh.
And pronouns. It's not even relief that colors her face, only blank acknowledgement.
Yeah.
Blue hair is awesome, though. At least, like, dark blue hair. Like, remember somebody in my Calculus 3? Or was it differential equation? I think it was Calculus 3. Who, like, dyed her hair this, like, nice, like, navy blue. Very sleek. And I loved it. It was awesome. I think it was Calculus 3. Might have been differential equations. I don't want to think about that, though. It's been so long since I've done a differential equation. I could probably integrate and differentiate right now, but it would take me some thinking to attempt to solve a differential equation at the moment. There's a gap in the conversation, if you could even call it that. The wailing of the storm is the only thing keeping it from lapsing into dead silence.
I know it's easy to get steamed at Yosemite. I'm kinda steamed at Yosemite. But she's sad. And she's been sad for a while. I tried my darndest to keep the fat lady singing for as long as I could, but when she's ready to yodel, by golly, she's gonna yodel. Don't pin too much on her, please.
That fat lady singing. I'm not sure if that's a request I can honor. My feelings on Yosemite keep getting more and more complicated. Oh yes, I bet they will. She's a rival, a validator, smart, snooty, kind, cruel. You said kind in there. Don't think I didn't see that, Eve. There could be an entire dictionary of words to describe her. She can bully Yellowstone to hating herself or manipulate Zion to the point of tears, while at the same time scolding me about my work and the nature of myself. Do I hate her? Respect her? Tolerate her? Are we friends? Sometimes it feels like we're friends. In a way, we always have been, since I first started coming to this park as a little kid. But to admit that is to take a step. To change. Isn't change obliteration, according to her? That's actually one of the few things she said that I find easy to believe. Or at least convenient to.
She told me about how different Zion used to be, you know?
Even if change was obliteration, is it that bad to tear down something that only brings pain, is like a mockery of what you want? And think about that. Is it so bad to obliterate something that we don't want anyway? Gotta think about that one. There's no audible sigh, but her shoulders slump.
When did it start? Have you always known?
She stares down at the table, eyeing in on a cup stain, probably from Yosemite's tea. A finger traced over the ring in an infinite circle.
I think it had already started by the time they found me. But even back then, Scion was different.
Different. How?
Shrugging with one shoulder, the other one stays in place so she can keep tracing.
Just different. A little taller, maybe? I don't remember so well. It's like I can think it, but I can't see it. Feelings come back the strongest.
That reminds me of something Yosemite said. She forgets herself and then I forget her, then what proof will there be that any of it was real? Again, you gotta make the proof. Yellowstone is clear about explaining this kind of stuff. She hasn't lapsed into theatrics, but the impression I get is still the same. Gotta make the proof. Like I said, you gotta have, take pictures if you want. Write things down. Like, talk to other people about it. So at least if you forget, it'll still be remembered, But I guess they are kind of loners, so taking the step to explain to other people their situation is difficult for them. I'm gonna take a quick BRB though, and I'll be back in just a second. Don't mind me. Alright, I'm back. It's unfortunate that there's no music in this part. I would have liked to have some music in the background of my BRB. But it is what it is. I was like, I checked my BattleNet very briefly as I returned. I just wanted to like make sure everything is Gucci with everything. And it looks like I still have like everything settled on my, like I still have all my stuff on my BattleNet set up, so like nice and clean. I was worried that I wouldn't be able to get into my BattleNet account because it's been so long, and I also use another BattleNet account. I have like I have a proxy account, okay? I have a secondary account that I use when I don't want people to know it's me. But it does appear that I still have everything on my computer all ready to go. Which means if I wanted to do some Warcraft 3, I could do some Warcraft 3. I also have StarCraft 1, of course. all good to go here. StarCraft 2. I don't want to play StarCraft 2 again. No, thank you. Do we still have Diablo 2 on this? Or does the Battle.net launcher not support Diablo 2 anymore? I only have one installed, which is... Wait, I have Classic WoW installed still? In what world did I not take Classic WoW off of my hard drive? It should also... I know it should. But I don't see it on my account. But how was I playing Diablo 2 beforehand? Is my question. I know where I can get my access my Diablo from, because my Diablo is on GOG. That's where I got Diablo 1. What about Diablo 2? They only have Diablo 2 Resurrected, and I don't have that. I don't have the remaster, because it was a shit remaster. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know where it is. It's okay, I don't feel like playing Diablo 2 right now. But if I ever do want to play some Diablo 2, I'd probably rather show people 1 if I was going to stream it, because a lot of people haven't seen Diablo 1 before. And they don't understand the kind of atmosphere that it had, what the story entailed. The story's pretty bare bones, but like, as you would expect from a 90s game. But Diablo 1 has a certain atmosphere to it that like really just outdoes some of the later entries in the series so much. It's so good. And Diablo 2 retains some of it, but Diablo 2 is a little bit more looter shooter kind of thing. It's a little bit more like, you know, beat up everything in sight, but it's still got a little bit of that atmosphere. Particularly, I think of like the atmosphere that Diablo 2 has in the expansion, when we have Baal and stuff like that. He's pretty fucked up in a good way. Like, the dungeon towards the end of Act 1 has some of it. Definitely the part leading up to Mephisto has got some of those vibes in it. So, I feel like people should see number 1 first. You mean hack and slash? Yes, but I also mean like more loot oriented, more just blast through everything, like, and it's also seasonal in a way, like a looter shooter is. That's what Diablo 2 is like, a little bit. It's got like a ladder and stuff like that. Whereas the first one is a little bit more basic hack and slash, with less of a loot focus, or still loot focus, but a lot of it is like just about your survival and your preparation and stuff like that. There's a difference between them. But do you know what my favorite hack and slash RPG is from the early 2000s? It's actually Dungeon Siege 1, the original, and the expansion especially. Best hack and slash. It is a Diablo clone that takes elements from Baldur's Gate and stuff like that and throws it on in, and it does an excellent job. It has some things of its own that really come into into view when you're into the expansion. The expansion really doubles down on the things that makes it unique, which is good. Because at the time, of course, you have Diablo 2, which is amazing. You have other things like that in the genre. So what is defining this hack and slash here? This ARPG. So that's probably my favorite hack and slash of all time. And I have played Dungeon Siege like straight up like 25 times. Like, it is a game that I've probably played the most times in my life. And I've done some speed running for it even. I think it was in like 2014. I looked up like the speedrun route and stuff, and I wanted to do a no save and reload speedrun. Because there wasn't a no save and reload category for it. Because a lot of what you do in the speedrun is when you get to a certain point of the game, there's a trading post. It's like halfway through roughly, and the first half of the game you really suffer in the speedrun. So when you get to there, you like save and reload until you get the right stats on your gear, on the gear that you can buy. And so I wanted to do a speed run where you don't go to the trading post and reload, you just take what's there. And there's RNG in it, but I wanted to find a way to route it so you don't need to get like perfect item RNG. And so I was thinking about that. It would also be glitchless. There's a glitch that you can do in the original game that they take advantage of in the speed run. That cancels the health pot drinking animation, so you instant health pot, and that's like critical to the speed run. Is stopping the animation so you can just constantly be chugging. And I wanted to try to do my whatever speed run without that too, partially because it's hard to pull off, but also because I think it makes it more challenging when you're forced to play with the animation lock and you can't just spam potions. But yeah, that's my favorite ARPG from that era. I love Diablo 2. Dungeon Siege, though, is astounding to me. At the time, it certainly was groundbreaking, and it broke out of the genre in interesting ways when you get into the expansion. And I've also used certain bosses from that game in my D&D campaigns, but don't tell anybody. Don't tell anyone, okay? I can't have them knowing my secrets. Wait, that means I can't stream it, because I can't let you guys know what my secrets are. Okay, never mind. Forget I ever said anything. Never mind, pretend that I'm a Diablo 2 nerd. I can't let them know. Yellowstone is clear about explaining this kind of stuff. She hasn't lapsed in theatrics, but the impression I get is still the same. Maybe they'll all forget, at one point or another.
The more big ol' Zion changed to little ol' Zion, the clearer she gets in my noggin.
The usual brightness in Yellowstone's voice shines through as she recollects.
And the crankier Yosemite got.
That little burst of sunshine is short-lived, though. The mere mention of Yosemite seems like enough to suck the light out of anything.
I always figured she was such a sourpuss 'cause of me, you know?
Sourpuss.
That her and Zion had something real swell going on, and that by me being here, I had jammed it all up.
What's the origin of the word sourpuss?
Cooking, cleaning, and all that good stuff. I do it 'cause I'm grateful for the company. And I guess at some point I started hoping the gratitude would make her less sad.
Ever think that some people are just sad by their very nature?
Being sad is natural. All
Mhm.
suffering is. But suffer too long and you kind of remove yourself from nature. You want to move with the circle, not get left behind in it. That way, when it comes back around, you're ready.
I'm trying to think about this line that she said here. I don't think I understand her. This is like, I've seen the intro to Rings of Power, and it's the most nonsensical dialogue writing you've ever seen. And it starts with the elf, and he's like, "Do you know why a rock sinks, but a boat doesn't? It is because the stone looks always down." And I'm thinking to myself, like, this dialogue is shitty as I was watching the start of Rings of Power. Battle Royale last line. And so she's saying here, suffer too long and you remove yourself from nature. I'm trying to understand what she means by that, right? Because it feels like it feels a bit like the Rings of Power line with the stone looks always down thing. I guess that what she means is that if you, but you gotta move with the circle, not get left behind it. I guess what she's saying is that at a certain point, our suffering and wallowing in that suffering holds us back from changing. And to be with nature, the natural order is to always be in change, in a state of change. We always cycle like the seasons. We grow, we develop, we change hobbies, we get better at things. When you wallow in that sadness for too long, you get stuck on the outside of that circle where you're not changing, nothing's changing, you're not moving, and therefore you're breaking the cycle of nature. I think that's what she's trying to say, right? So, I mean, it's better than the fucking Rings of Power line, okay? It's better than saying the stone looks always down, like, and the boat looks up. Like, what the fuck does that mean? I mean, I know what it means, but what does it legitimately mean? Like, I kind of get what she's saying here.
You think Yosemite, a representative of nature, has removed herself from it?
Of course, Eve is going to be as confused as I was because she hasn't had time to think over why it's not a Rings of Power line.
Oh, I think it's something a whole lot of people do.
Yellowstone decides to punctuate her point by bouncing her eyebrows.
Ha.
I take another form from the pile and skim over it. Not many more to go now. Did I say
What
more?
are those papers you keep tearing up?
Nothing important.
The pieces flutter to the ground as I go for the next one.
As the gal who's gonna have to sweep them up, I'd say it's pretty important to me.
I'll clean them up then.
I go in for the next one, but she swipes a stack off the table before I can. She grins at me with her teeth, revealing 2 rows of polished pearly whites. My eyes glaze over her.
They're
Glaze
feedback
over.
forms. Visitors can fill them out. Most do it to complain. All these ones happen to mention me.
Ooh, juicy gossip.
She quickly unfolds the entire stack. Her eyes scan from left to right as she reads from the first page.
Hey, this don't look like moaning to me. In fact, they're saying some real nice things about ya. Handwriting could be better, though.
They could be moaning. I don't know what she does at her job, but could be moaning too.
Yeah, they're all like that. My supervisor wanted me to read them.
So why are you ripping them all up?
Because they're convenient lies.
Yeah, and then what we're saying here is that, like, Eve is purposefully keeping herself out of the circle again. So we're circling back to what she said there, and also what she wrote about in the diary earlier. What? I see the Vina in chat. What's up? I'm right here. She licks her thumb and shuffles the next form.
You mean none of these things actually happened?
Oh, they happened, all right. I just think they got the wrong impression of me. Take a look at any of those and tell me if it sounds like me.
Take a closer look at that snap.
I think they do.
Then, for my sake, I hope you're wrong.
Yellowstone flips the next form, saying nothing as she reads through it. She stares at it for a good long time. Her eyes are unmoving, like she's narrowing in on one spot. Then she starts digging around in her head again. Great, really wish she would warn me before doing this. At least I don't want to eat whatever comes out of there this time. I hope. She whips out a small roll of tape, tears off a piece, and bends both sides together to make it double-sided. All I do is watch as she does this for a couple more times and sticks them to the back of the form she was just reading.
Having fun?
She answers by snagging Teddy off the table and slapping the form onto the first free page.
Hey! That's my journal, not your arts and crafts project!
I leap out of my chair and rush to the other side of the table, ready to pry Teddy out of her soon-to-be cold, dead hands. She doesn't retaliate, though, already presenting the book to me before I have a chance to get physical. I rip it out of her hand.
You're dead.
Read it.
I glare at her, still contemplating all the sharp objects I could shove inside her head. Jesus.
Go on, don't be shy.
I looked down at Teddy. The edges of the form she taped in there are sticking out of the journal, breaking up the lined cohesion of every other page. I had this, like, random thought, like, if I drop, like, crack in there inside of her volcano or something, is she gonna metabolize it? Or is it just gonna burn? Acting more like a bookmarker, the form doesn't even let me flip through the pages. All I have to do is open it up and I'm there. There's no name, number, email address, or even listed date. Aside from the logos and the form will tell us how we're doing, all there is to read is a print on the paragraph lines. Didn't catch her name, but I wanted to thank that one ginger ranger sitting down next to me in that log while eating lunch. We only said a few words to each other, but I'm still here for the time being because of it. Damn. Zion got deep.
There's nothing wrong with being valued, Eve.
Everything just stops. My heart, my bitching, hell, maybe even my lungs, because I'm not even sure I'm breathing. There's no way. I'm not valuable. Not worth being valued. A flash of light blinds me, and a few seconds later I hear the thunder behind it. When my sight comes back, the room is dark, filled with shadows.
Ah, phooey. The darn lights went out.
Look at her. Look at the thing right above me, okay? She's crying. Yellowstone scurries across the room from window to window, drawing open the curtains to let in the natural light. Gives me enough time to iron out the lump in my throat and choke down the stray sobs. I'm not valuable, but to one person I guess I was. Because at the end of the day it didn't matter if they had the wrong impression of me or not. As long as they saw the end of the day. There's a faint knock at the door. Yellowstone freezes in place, both arms spread out, opening up a curtain. I wipe away the tears still stuck to my cheeks.
I'm done thinking. Is it okay if I come back in now?
Zion's muffled voice is barely audible over the sound of the rain and thunder. But I can hear her usual polite timidness ring out like a church bell. For some reason, like... This is episode 3, right? Episode 3, everything hit the fan. In terms of the emotional core of this game. And like the first day of streaming it, like it was wacky, but there wasn't really a strong emotional core there. Like the second day of streaming, there was something there, and like I was trying to pry into it, but we didn't get a lot of that. Well, yeah, yes, it's called rising and falling conflict, but like what I mean to say is that the amount that they're willing to go with, the amount, like the content matter shifted. The way that they present it shifted. It's like obviously in your writing you're going to have a rise of emotion, tension, conflict, and a fall of it. What I mean to say is it's presented differently in episode 3. It's on the forefront. It's the content matter is darker, but also the way that they go about showing it to you is different. And so I feel like the shift, not only the tonal shift, but like in this episode, they experiment with more things. And what I mean to say is that my overall interest during the first stream wasn't very high because the conflict wasn't really presented well at all. And then by the second stream, like, we get into episode 2. Episode 2 changes up a little bit, but mainly it's more of the same, but rising, like just crank it up a little bit. And then episode 3, I think they find their stride, but also they change their tactic, their writing tactic here. Like, I think they do things differently. Sort of. Sort of. I think in Please Be Happy, we're kind of we're shown the conflict, like, somewhat early on, and we're invited to think about things that are very deep, very troublesome, and difficult to comprehend early. In this, they like hold it back and they let it in slowly, but in this episode here, they change it. They change how they present the conflict, and it works so much better. I don't mean to say that, oh, I'm surprised that a fucking story is taking place the way that stories take place. Like, I'm not acting like that. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that at this point they've changed tactics with how they're writing, and it works. It takes it from being this wacky kind of like something that I was kind of low interest in, and now they actually have me. And I think a big part of it is the utilization of the diary in this episode in particular. Right? They've used the diary twice, or 3 times in the whole game. In episode 1, and when they did it in episode 1, it was only a recap. In this episode, they've done it twice to present us with an existential question. And, like, I mean, yeah, I understand that they built the first 2 to do world building. That's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that they chose to change how they were writing partway through here. They decided to do things differently at this point. You're talking to me like I'm a 5th grader, but right here, they're writing differently, and it really hits. Like, they got the secret sauce, you know, and what it took was, I think, number 1, being able to take a risk here, and number 2, like, they probably realized that the core conflict of this story is not enticing in the first part of the game. In the second part of the game, it's something you gotta dig into, but it barely comes out. So it's gotta be in the forefront now. It's gotta be Like, it's gonna be front and center. Not, you know, and it works. It works. But yes, I have taken plenty of college writing courses. Don't worry about that. I know how books work. Zion's muffled voice is barely audible over the sound of rain and thunder, but I can hear her usual polite timidness ring out like a church bell. Guess she doesn't outright exile herself like Yosemite did. Don't get why she has to ask permission to come back in from the walk she decided to go on, though. Yellowstone rushes to the bathroom, then scuffles back out, a fresh towel in hand. She opens the front door so fast that I wouldn't be surprised if she wound up tearing it off its hinges.
Come in, I'll give you shelter from the storm.
Why do I feel like she's trying to quote something there? She ushers Zion inside and closes the door behind her. She's sopping wet. Even her wings are weighed down by water dripping from them. A puddle forms around her feet.
Just look at ya, you're soaked to the bone.
Without missing a beat, Yellowstone kneels down and starts drying Zion off with a towel. There's no method to it. She just spastically scrubs every area of her body like you might do with your hair after getting out of the shower.
Sorry for getting upset earlier.
Her words are jumbled and muffled by the towel.
It ain't no thing.
My God, I'm glad she didn't finish that sentence. She stops scrubbing and Zion's head pops out of the towel. Poor Zion looks as guilty as a felon despite being the victim of all this.
You're not fibbing, are you?
Course not. We've all been getting a little peeved lately, so I think your lid is entitled to at least one flip.
Okay. I still think it was childish of me, though.
They smile at each other, then clock foreheads and nuzzle them together. Yellowstone mentioned that Yosemite had a bad case of mom bear syndrome, but looking at this, I have to wonder who might have it worse.
You got back here quick. Sure you did enough thinking out there?
She jumps at the sound of my voice, my presence making itself known from the shadows.
Probably not as much thinking as you do, Miss Eve.
Too much of it if you ask me.
It's better than thinking too little. Probably.
It's not. She breaks away from Yellowstone, who is in the middle of drying her, and gets a few steps closer to me. Yellowstone pouts as she wipes up the drops of water behind her.
Actually, the reason I came back is because I wanted to talk to you.
Is it the same writers for each chat? I think so. I still think this is Scion. But, you know, Scion and Josh might have different ways of how they want to go about their story. And there's not really a right answer. There's just an answer which captivates me more from the start. But yeah, I think that they both have their own styles, I think. Now, I think Scion's style here might be a little bit more fantastic. Like, fantastical in certain ways. They both know how to present things a different way, yeah. They do different things. And also, I haven't seen much more of Scion's work. I mean, I've seen when they work together on things, like Highway Blossoms, for example. Highway Blossoms was brilliant. You know? I believe Josh worked more on Please Be Happy. Scion and him worked together on Highway Blossoms and on Heart of the Woods. And this seemed like it was more Scion. But yeah. I don't think either one has like a bad way of doing things, but I think the start of this one was a little bit less captivating to me than the start of the other three that we played. Actually, it's about the same as Heart of the Woods. Heart of the Woods had kind of a rough start, but it wasn't bad. It was just a little bit rougher than Please Be Happy and Highway Blossoms, right? Highway Blossoms came out swinging, and Please Be Happy comes out swinging even harder. Yeah. I think Scion is the main scenario of this.
To me? Don't know if you noticed, but I don't have the most engaging personality.
That's not true. Yosemite wouldn't like you as much as she does if that were the case.
The words start to stumble out, but I just might end up sputtering to a stop. No response for that. If somebody doesn't actually like me, right? Only tolerates me? Unless she really does. My god, that's horrifying. Look at her fucking blush in there. Not because she might see me as an acquaintance that she enjoys spending time with, but because I'm okay with it. Instead of walking the rest of the way to me, she gets up and floats to meet me eye to eye.
Could you possibly take my hand? I'd like to go somewhere special for this.
She extends her hands to me. I don't immediately grab it.
Ooh, another field trip! Do we want to try for another picnic?
Actually, Yellowstone.
Yellowstone scrunches up her face like she's trying to do long division. I'm a bit worried at first, but she finally gets to the right equation.
Oh, I see how it is. You cats think you're too cool for school. A bumpkin like me would just cramp your style.
Zion gasps at the notion. She starts to speak, but Yellowstone turns around and waves us off.
Go on, get. Old Yellowstone will hold down the fort like she always does.
Her dismissive hand slips into a thumbs up. Zion breathes a relieved sigh.
Thank you.
Hold on, I haven't agreed to anything yet.
That's okay. You'd end up doing it anyway.
Well, she's not wrong. She clasps my hand and smiles.
Ready?
Yeah, fine.
Back to static. I'm swept away, the ground gives way beneath me. As to the walls, the air, anything familiar to ground me is gone. All engulfed by the sizzling of electricity running through me. Then darkness. A deep, eternal darkness. The most natural I've ever seen. It doesn't feel dangerous or scary, just inviting, like the indescribable space I'm falling through are cradling arms of something much bigger. I want to let go. Then there's ground. I stumble for footing, but when you're going to slip, there's never any stopping it.
Ah, son of a...
Jeez, what the fuck happened? What the fuck is in the realm between realms? My knees slam down jagged rock. Tiny pebbles meld into my shins. If my jeans weren't already shredded, this would have done the trick.
Such a bumpy landing. You weren't thinking about letting go, were you?
Why is there some weird eldritch horror fucking like hiding between dimensions in this game? Zion gently floats down beside me. Her wings tuck in as both feet gently touch the ground.
Does it matter if I was? Ouch.
It does! You mustn't even think of it! Never, ever!
Before I can let myself truly meditate on the pain, Zion bends over and helps me up. I dust myself off, but try not to look at my knees. If it's going to leave a mark, I'd rather not see it.
So, I'm guessing we're somewhere in Zion.
A chill wind blows through me, tossing my hair. Red and orange mountain cliffs bookend a winding, vibrant valley. It encapsulates the area tightly enough to be a canyon. The only proof that there's something beyond here, and that there's an end, is the river curving through the green inferno and bending out of sight behind a mountain. To a place I'll probably never see, never step foot in.
Feeling enraptured?
Only so many vistas you girls can show me before that stops happening.
I don't believe that's true.
Oh my god. Oh.
Yeah. It's not.
The smell here is different from Yosemite. I don't even catch a whiff of that familiar alpine scent I love so much. The air here is so thin and crisp it could be called odorless, if not for the faint hint of sage that peppers the back of my throat. It's all so clean.
Is this where your painting is?
Angel's Landing. That's correct. Although, I'd like to think of it more as a portrait.
Anything with a frame usually is.
Though a name like Angel's Landing, it's not. Wait. Though with a name like Angel's Landing, it's not always as blunt. She smirks.
It seems the best of us is rubbing off on you.
Zion closed her eyes, taking in a deep, steadying breath. It all feels so cyclical in a way. She's taking in air from her land, it filters through her, then she breathes it all back out. Assuming she has lungs. Assuming anything. We get another picture, okay. She draws her eyes from the green expanse, locking them on her bare feet. A troubled frown has carved itself deep into her face. Not that she hasn't always seemed troubled. Frantic little thing that she is.
Miss Eve, I believe I was being wishy-washy today.
Why? Because you couldn't stand up to Yosemite? She was always gonna push it as far as she could. It's her malfunction, not yours.
You got a hell of a brain, by the way. Hell of a brain.
It was never about standing up for myself. What I'm guilty of is much worse. I wasn't able to commit to the truth.
Also, they love redheads at Studio Element, don't they?
I had told you that change is natural.
As gradual as the passing of the dusk to dawn.
I echo her words back at her. She freezes, a little surprised that I remembered it, maybe. A somber look on her face tells me that all I've done is reinforce what she's determined to be the truth. That's also like a mirror of what Yellowstone talked with her about, which probably tells me that she learned that from Zion. Do I want a braid like that? Yeah, that would be great. Except I cut my hair a little bit shorter than that nowadays. I used to have it pretty long, but now it's just like down to my titties. So I can't really do a braid like that anymore.
Yes, that's right. And yet, I was uncertain enough to contradict that almost immediately afterwards. Telling you that we do what we can for as long as we can. But that's resisting change. It's a terrible thing. To indulge someone else's stagnation. That's what I did to Yosemite.
I guess that's one way to look at it. But there's something about that bugs me. It shifts personal accountability from Yosemite to Zion. Also, notice the way that Zion is speaking. However, I don't believe for a second that it was ever Yosemite's intention. I have my issues with her and how she's acted, but there's always something about it I can relate to. There's no way I could ever read her mind, but I think it would make her only feel worse if she knew Zion was blaming herself in this way.
You know, after she ran, I went and tracked her down.
That was a very kind thing to do.
To chew her out.
Oh,
Every reason and justification she gave me sounded selfish and brain dead. For someone who exclusively speaks with words that are over 2 syllables, she sure has trouble articulating herself. But after cooling off a little, I think I sort of get it.
It's interesting. Even from up here overlooking everything that there is in the valley, I can still make out fine details. The biggest one is the flow of the river's current. Unlike Zion's portrait, there aren't any white or black dashes in the water to communicate the movement to the viewer. All I have to do is look at it, and I know it's moving forward.
She's afraid. Not of change, but what can be left behind because of it. Who you used to be might be different than who you are now, even if you still think you're that person. New isn't scary, but the idea that the old might not be there anymore is. The drama queen compared it to obliteration. And she said that's what happened to you.
I've been dancing around this subject with Zion for long enough. We can talk all day about symbology and allegory that hint at what happened to her, but that's not honest. I think she knows it too. She smiles like an old master thief finally caught in the act. It's an expression suited for someone far older than how she looks.
Do you know what happened to you?
it's not about knowing, Miss Eve. Anyone can tell they're sunburned if they've been outside long enough. I don't remember. It's like you said. Whoever I was is much different than who I am now.
A dull sadness pulses somewhere hidden in my chest. I'm not sure if it's anything deep, just a shallow wistfulness.
But to say that I've been obliterated would be a true disservice to whoever it is that I was.
A sharp wind pushes at us from behind. Zion's satisfied smile gets a little bigger as her eyes sneak into her peripheral. I make a subtle turn to see what she's looking at. And that's also what I said about Yosemite earlier. During that whole event. It's worse to not accept her at all. And she's just stuck in that cycle. Behind us, Yosemite's tall figure watches from the brush. She stands still, careful to do anything that would make herself known.
Obliteration isn't real. Everything echoes. Whether me, you, or anyone else knows it or not. Everything is passed down. No one ever truly leaves their old self behind. The old informs the new. It'd be imaginary without it. And not just ourselves, but others too.
Yeah, and an echo of the old is exactly what I said a minute ago in the way that she's speaking.
It's not scary, not one tiny bit. Because any part of yourself that's ever been will always be.
Wonder who she's talking to at this point. It's cheeky. More like a sneaky imp than a delicate angel. But who can stand beside an angel and argue with their message aside from the devil and its advocates?
So the residual effects of misery last forever, huh?
Yes. Has the building blocks to much better things.
Only to be tossed into the lake of fire. Now that's real obliteration. Strands of Zion's golden hair flutter in the breeze. Petals and leaves fall off her body, drifting into the clear blue sky. Back in California at the cabin, I'll bet the storm is still raging. Dark skies and howling wind. National parks have the range of acquired.
So, can I ask a question?
I think you just did. But another one is okay too.
Do you, have the wings because of the names of places like this? Or is there a logistical reason for it? I don't understand why you girls look the way you do at all.
Twinkle in her eye dulls. Her sage smile goes flat.
Miss Eve, stop overcomplicating everything.
I suppose that is an end for that. Switch! Oh, we're going back to, Yosemite. Zion and the Ranger stay for a while longer, the conversation lapsing into a discussion about the Zion National Park and the sights of the area. Eve isn't one to get excited about very many things, but as she talks about all the sites she wants to camp at and the trails she wants to hike, there's a real light that exudes from her. To be truthful, I prefer it to the hopelessness that weighs down her personality near constantly. It's easier to imagine myself in that kind of light when she's an example to follow by. Yeah, we've been talking about their two parallels here, and Yosemite is just putting it flat out that she sees the parallels. And, you know, what she was being presented earlier from Eve is kind of a paradigm of what she wants to be. So, but also, like, the fact that they're in a very similar situation, if Eve can't be happy, then she can't be happy either. Eventually, they grab hands and vanish within a blink of an eye. The quick scuff of wind is the only proof that they were ever there. I don't think they noticed me. Being observant is one of the things I pride myself most on, so lurking out of sight isn't a difficult task. Sifting out of the bush, I take a seat on the edge of the cliff. Because of Zion's painting, I have immediate access to this place, but I choose not to come very often. It's a painful reminder of things I know I'll need reminders of. Still, it's a wondrous view. It's unlike anything in my park, in me. Poor, poor Yosemite's, doesn't have self-confidence anymore. Don't we all? The sky turns to a magical golden orange. It's as if the sunset is jealous and has chosen to copy the colors of the very mountains it sits behind. The river is not jealous, however. It naturally reflects whatever surrounds it. The river can be whatever it wants and whatever it needs to be. So I sit there hoping that the blue strands of my hair can do the same as the rivers they invoke, to reflect the things in front of me, even if they are not what I am, so I can chameleon myself as those things, perhaps eventually becoming them in earnest. I was wondering where she was going with that for a second there, because again, it was started out as one of those things that's like the stone looks only downward, but it didn't end that way, thankfully. But once again, she has another flawed point of view, but a better point of view, which is I want to reflect the good qualities I see around me. But her flaw is that she's trying to be everybody else but herself. If that makes sense. Oh, I thought we were fading out totally. We're just going to night. I do that until the light sinks below the horizon. Then the river only reflects the darkness, and eventually the moon. There's static, a collision of the natural and the unseen. Then there is darkness. And now there is rain. I stand in front of the door, immediate access to anywhere within the confines of this park, and I'm still too much of a coward to zap myself inside. The lightning sizzles through the sky, and for precious milliseconds it lights up the dark shadows of the surrounding mountains as if it were day. Its younger brother, thunder, moans, booming at me, demanding that I face what panic has brought. I could stay here forever and ignore it. Its younger brother moans. Nicely done. I'm gonna take a sip of water. Because nobody's telling me to drink. But I choose not to. I twist the knob and creak through the door. The inside of the cabin is bathed and blanketed in shadows. No electricity, not even fire. The dim luminescence of the outside world. The light that would be here if even the sun itself snuffed out, bleeds through the windows. There is no such thing as pitch black.
Yosemite? Is that you?
Her voice is groggy whisper, yet even that feels like a challenge, as do most things from her. The urge to answer it is just too great.
No, I'm an intruder, here to desecrate your federal property.
Shh. Not so loud. The others are sleeping.
Oh. I didn't know.
My banter just got shot down, utterly. It feels embarrassing.
Well, don't just stand there. You're letting all the cold air in.
My heart somersaults as I hurry to shut the door. Quietly, of course. The atmosphere is so strange here, as if the entire cabin's axis had been shifted. Subtle, but noticeable. The floorboards squeak as I tiptoe across the cabin. I take another step. There's a quiet grunt, more of an irritated breath than a growl. I look down to see the coyote puppy bearing its top row of teeth at me. He's lying on his side, legs and ears spread out. It lessens the danger, but I scurry to the ranger-shaped outline on the couch anyway.
Doc, my teeth keep falling out.
Jesus Christ. Hate dreams like that. Don't make me think about that, Yellowstone. Yellowstone is also sitting on the couch, slouched over onto Eve's shoulder and drooling. Incoherent dream words slip out of her between snores.
Look.
Her eyes single down. Curled up like a fetus, Zion takes up the last free cushion, but is small enough for the couch to feel spacious. There's a soft rhythm to her breath. You gotta compare her to a fetus? Her sleep always seems so peaceful. No murmurs or snores. It's such a contrast to the panic she carries with her throughout the day. It gives me the impression that the life she leads when she's dreaming may be the real one, and all this is just a brief and bittersweet vision, a byproduct. I brush her bangs out of the way of her forehead and run my fingers through the rest of her hair. It's soft and weightless, as if it were made from the fabric and strands of all the feathers that have ever fallen from her wings.
There's something broken in me, isn't there?
That's a hell of a question to lead with.
Welcome to the club. Now sit down.
Is that an offer? A demand? Probably both. I hesitate, and somehow I know that I'll be doing a lot more of that more lately. Hesitating, thinking, even though I already do far too much of the latter. Fear of forgetting and fear of tomorrow will continue to color everything I do from now on, just as it's coloring my perception of Zion at this very moment, from loving mentor to child I love, and now to Enigma. Everything is shifting. I know that despite how much I try to fight against it, does doing so make me a worse version of myself? I want to uncover truths. It's all I devote myself to. Yet here I am kicking against the inconvenient ones. Oh, we're back to this image here. I guess this is where the image came from. And they gave us an image that hadn't happened yet. But also, like, please, Yellowstone. Please. I slide into the couch, careful not to stir Zion. Gently I shift her onto my lap. She tosses and my heart drops. I try to will her from waking up. It seems to work because she only nuzzles herself deeper into me. Eve does her best to turn her head as she tries to navigate the uncomfortable position of Yellowstone's volcano, weighing down most of her soft neck muscles. Also, she normally calls her Ranger, and now she's calling her Eve.
I called you selfish earlier.
You did?
It's not damning.
It should be, though. I know what I am.
You do?
Of course. I'm selfish. Vindictive and scared. In my crisis, I drag down others to my low. Make them as afraid and uncertain as me.
I'd like to Yellowstone. Her sleeps are never quite as restful as Zion's. I've heard her mumble list of chores and expectations in her sleep before. I've heard her whimper as well. Then I look to Zion, an image of perfection that I'm unsure if ever even existed, despite being so sure this morning. But probably not. The Ranger, Eve, chews on the bottom of her bottom lip, contemplating my words, the things I've always treated as weapons, but are really just shields. It's a damn good way of swinging it right there. And also, I was gonna say something about what they said just a moment ago, but I forgot what I was gonna say. When they had their back and forth.
It's true. You're all of those things. I've been right about you since day one. It's fine, though. I am too.
She reaches to pat the back of my hand twice and draws away. A smirk forces its way across my lips, although I can't describe it as anything but cynical.
Well, you are only human after all.
Fog pressed against the window against my room. Water trailing down the glass. The patter of the rain taps against the roof. Until it's over, I don't believe any of us will leave this couch.
Yosemite! Wherever are you hiding?
That was a scene. But now we're back to the flashbacks here. I remember the creepy blending that they did last time with the flashbacks.
Oh dear me. If she doesn't appear soon, I won't be able to tell her a story. Our picnic will be ruined. Whatever shall I do?
Also, didn't I say earlier that Zion's adult voice actor sounds like Abigail? It does, right? I'm not crazy.
Wait, I'm right here! I want to hear this story!
Oh, I'm not so sure now. It's getting rather late. Perhaps we should return to the cabin.
Preposterous!
It's preposterous, dear.
Preposterous! Please, Zion! I want to hear the story about the swallow again. Tell me the swallow story.
Tell me a swallow story.
Goodness. I suppose I have no choice then.
Fucking swallowed 15 whole kernels.
No, you certainly do not.
Very well. Come sit down, little one. You can't listen to a story from all the way over there, now can you?
Coming!
Straighten your posture.
Oh my god. That's a hell of a look. Holden comes out of lurking for that. Yeah, excuse me? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Studio One. You look like fucking Lana's Final Fantasy XIV character right now. Like, jeez.
But Zion, must I really?
Only if you respect yourself.
Now?
Once upon a time, there was a poor man in a field. In the past, he had been quite popular, but rambunctiousness had gotten the better of him, and he had spent all his valuable possessions, including his clothes. While wandering the endless field, he saw a swallow overhead.
She's got some... She is equipped, isn't she? But also, we got... So 3 started with the flashback that was ruined and ended with the flashback that... Oh, you see, Sion is still the director here. It ended with the flashback again, but the flashback with definition again. Yeah, Sion is the only scenario writer for this one. No change to the writer, but just a change to the style that they were going with. Pup is voiced by Sion. And Sion does the vocals for the music. It's like fucking Yoshi P doing, what's his face? Byakuo.
Howdy-yo, campers!
Howdy-yo,
Welcome
campers.
back to another edition of mine and Zion's Fireside Chat!
Hello. It's very nice to be here.
You guys ready for a fireside chat?
Today we're gonna talk about something we've seen a whole lot of people getting discombobulated over.
Discombobulated.
Is it your head?
Not this time! Though to be really about the dealio
Realio.
with ya, I'm starting to get a little sensitive about that.
Really about the dealio.
Nah, this time we're gonna explain once and for all the difference between a national park and a national monument.
Hope you guys are taking notes. There's gonna be a test about this later, right?
There's a surprising amount of confusion over this, so hopefully we'll be able to help.
It ain't that surprising. I mean, they both got the word national in them. Most folks just zone out after the first word or phrase.
Is there actually? Well, we're gonna find out, Holden. I hope you got your fucking pencil ready. Let's
They
go.
do?
Oh, maybe only I do that.
I love you, Yellowstone.
Wait, why doesn't it sound like you mean it?
My God.
So, there are more details to go into, but the most important thing to understand is that a national park can only be established by an act of Congress. A national monument is established through a presidential proclamation.
Guys, you learn something every day on this channel. There you go. I think that was a piece of legislature that you guys didn't know. And now you do.
Huh? It's that simple? Hot diggity, this is gonna be our shortest episode yet!
Not so fast, Yellowstone. These nice people are here to be educated.
Mhm.
We have to do our jobs for their sake.
Huh? Are you sure? What if they get funny ideas and start making weird fan art about National Monument girls? I don't think I'm ready for that.
I bet Ralph's got some of that hidden somewhere. Some nice Rule 34 about National Monument Girls. I bet he's got that somewhere in there. Maybe Pi, too. Knowing you, there might be a little bit in there somewhere. But probably not American, national monuments. If I had to guess.
It's a risk we have to be willing to take for education.
You have like a picture of the statue in Rio de Janeiro. Oh my god. What else, what other monuments? Well, there's a Statue of Liberty like in France. I forget what it's called. What else can we do here? Oh, there used to be, a Colossus, oh. My fucking tablet disconnected. Hold on, give me a second here. Roads? Paul Bunyan? Jesus Christ. You could find some? Oh my god. If you ain't Googling over F-18 anime... You would say that, Holden. The fucking F-18s. You know, I think I got talked to by one the other day. It was like 300 feet above me. It's that simple.
For education. So, if national parks are decided by Congress and national monuments are decided by the president, doesn't that mean any old place can become one or the other?
Not quite. This is when things start to get a little more complicated.
C-130 if you want to be smothered. Perfect. Where's Lana? I know he wants to be smothered.
Please bear with us by standing your ground and appearing large.
So, let me get this straight first, okay? So Ralph has got National Monument Erie somewhere. Awesome Pie has, General Statue Erie somewhere. Probably like, I don't know, mimic stuff around here somewhere. I don't know. Holden's got plane porn. And Lana's getting smothered right now. Sorry, Awesome Pie has Paul Bunyan, Rule 30. We're missing Kimmy. What does Kimmy have in here? Unless I don't know. Unless Kimmy is, got Vina Bina Rule 34 in there. So. Yo, when is somebody gonna do lewd VTuber fan art of me? That's how I know I've won in life. If I never hit that point, then I've never succeeded as a streamer. You have seen things that make you question your existence. I've seen some of the things that you've seen and posted, and that's just the tip of the iceberg. Now hold on, what? Okay, no. You don't want to be incriminated? Oh, you're avoiding the fucking, You're avoiding that sentence. That's right, smothered in 205mm howitzer. Don't worry about it, Rel. Don't worry about it. The blessed tube. Please do not fuck a gun. Please. I'm begging you. Please bear with us by standing your ground and appearing large.
Yellowstone, you're confusing your bears again.
Even if that's true, it'll never stop me from bearing my soul.
For monuments, it's a little easier.
She turned up her
As
game
long as
too
a
far.
building, site, or piece of land is significant in some way, then it can be declared a national monument. In fact, this is how we determine the difference between a national historic site and a national historical park.
As long as a building, site, or piece of land is significant in some way, it can be declared a national monument. Wait. We're doing Vina Rule 30. Well, if you know an artist, I ain't got no artists here, you know? Ralph has. Oh, I thought you said Ralph gotcha. I was like, oh no, please. Yeah, there's a gotcha about everything though, you know? Anything that you can think of, there's probably a gotcha, a Yuri gotcha about it. You am an artist? I can't say the same about me, dog. I have, like, a little bit of drawing, like, background, but not enough to do anything. I mean, again, I won't have succeeded in life until I get the Vina Bina Rule 34, the, like, Vina Bina lewd fan art. You know what I mean? You saw the tweet that I was tweeted in, by Captain Zero Puns. You're a simple man. You're gun girls and warship girls. How do you personify a warship? Right? Because I'm thinking of, like, you know, you were talking about the plane earlier. And I'm just thinking about a plane with a fucking face on it and then like a vagina. Like, how is that? How does it work? How, like, or do you just take qualities of the plane and apply it? Give her massive artillery cannons? Huge tracts of land. How, do you just take qualities of the plane and turn it into an anime girl? Just give them certain qualities from it, like the color scheme, maybe the curvature, the something about the profile, like the way it's done is it's a personality. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes enough sense. But then at that point, you can't really call it like a, you can't call it a stealth bomber girl, or whatever. Like, you can't call it a plane girl, because it's just a girl with some of the motifs from the plane. You know? It's just like, I feel like there's a step where it's no longer a plane and it's now a girl. Springfield, for instance, is based... Yeah. M1903.
Don't tell me there's a difference! Boy, this is only getting more and more confusing.
I'll try my best to explain. Basically, sites can be historic, in that significant events happened there, like Ford's Theater, where President Lincoln was assassinated.
But that's what I'm saying, Holden, is that it's themed World War I era. But is it a gun anymore? So is it really a gun girl?
Meanwhile, parks are designated independently of any events that may have occurred there. They may be historical, but in order for a place to be considered a park, National Historic or otherwise, it has to have opportunities for recreational activities.
Like hiking and rock climbing and other trail junk.
That's right! Size is also important too. Small
Size
parks
fairly
used to
important.
be established on occasion, but in modern times, it's expected for a park to be big enough for broad use.
Are you big enough for broad use? Me, I'm the broad. They use the guns that they're based on. Well, yeah. But it's not the same as fucking the gun. Because now the gun is a girl. You're not fucking a battleship. You're just fucking a girl with the same motifs of the battleship. Hold on, you posted something for me in Discord. Well, yeah, in that case, she's got, like, parts of the ship sticking out of her. It's very, very busy. There's Mary the Gun, Jesus Christ. Declem with a donation, with a contribution to Octopath. Thank you very much. You don't actually play those games, you don't, yeah. Well, I've already, like, talked about my relationship with, like, Genshin and Star Rail. It's like, I'll play it, but I'll play it strictly free to play. Because I'm against the monetization model. And that's why I don't like Genshin as much. But yeah, this battleship girl that you're showing me here, they just kind of like stick pieces of the battleship on her. And it's extremely visually busy. I think they need to clean up the design here. I think we need to go back and we need to change some things about this whole personification of it into anime girl culture here. I think things need to change. Also, why do I gotta make comments like that? Because I'm Vina. I wouldn't be me if I didn't make those comments, you know? Now, speaking of me... Oh, speaking of that, fuck. Get the best viewers out of here. Now, speaking of me... Where's... Where's the lewd fan art? I gotta find this lewd fan art of Vina Vina. Azure Lane is polarizing because the ship girls are all either built like breeding sows or kindergarten. Well, that's one way of putting it, huh? Wow. They don't always have the bits attached to them. Yeah, the bits attached is a little bit too visually busy, you know? Breeding sows. Damn. I wish I was built like a breeding sow. Oh my god.
So if it makes you feel itty bitty
Big
and
enough for
tiny,
broad
then
use.
it's probably a park? That's a good way to look at it. Although there will always be exceptions.
Don't at
Seems
me.
like there's a tractor load of those.
Yeah, it's a teeny bit messy. Most monuments, parks, and sites are managed by the National Park Service, though. But sometimes, the Bureau of Land Management is in charge of them, or even other departments. Sometimes people push for things to be more organized, but that's probably a long ways off, so you shouldn't hold your breath.
If anything, I feel like the National Park Service is going to be more disorganized over time, because people seem to be putting less and less value on these things. It's STG is swear to God. But yeah, I feel like things are only going to get worse for the National Park Service, unfortunately. Which is really unfortunate. It's really terrible. But the national parks are only going to shrink. The service is only going to get worse. Humanity is only going to encroach more and more on it. And, like, what they're protecting is going to become more and more in vain. But hopefully it's not as quick of a decay as it might be. Smile.
No, seriously, Yellowstone, stop holding your breath.
Oh well, guess for now we just gotta keep appreciating the messy beauty we got now.
Yeah, appreciate the messy
Names or
beauty you
what's
got.
official, as long as folks get a chance to see neato places, it's all square in my book.
Appreciate the messy beauty. I'm messy, by the way.
Just make sure to come visit us first, or else we'll get lonely.
Well, thanks for dropping by, but it looks like we gotta split. Catch you next time, campers, and remember to love our parks!
I think you went off the script a little bit there, Yellowstone, with the catch you next time.
Bye-bye!
I'm wishing that I pre-installed Warcraft 3 at this point. I really am wishing I did.
Ranger Adams? I thought that the teepee were supposed to be like tents. So why is this one made of wood, huh, Ranger Adams?
Christ. I'm wishing that I had it pre-installed. Because I was going to leave episode 4 and 5 maybe for later. But I don't know. I also was thinking about Class of '09 a little bit today. Certainly a spelling. Yes. Oh, yeah. It's a real spelling. It's a real spelling. It really is. Although part of me thinks that, they opened up... Part of me thinks that they opened up a phone book, and the first last name on the list is the one that they chose. It's Arabic. Yeah, it is a spelling. It does not change how it's pronounced, no. Or at least I haven't heard anybody change the way it's pronounced in any conceivable manner. I just looked at the other tab in the Discord, and the character name spit on it. Oh my god. Today is certainly a day. Certainly a day. Damn, I don't want to play some Warcraft 3, damn it. I just want to play Warcraft 3. I had a pen in my mouth, sorry. I like put things in my mouth sometimes when I'm streaming. Or like, it's usually the stylus here. But I also have to have my fingers, you know, on the stylus at all times, you know, jerking it or whatever. Just because of who I am. Well, if we wanted to save here, what would you guys potentially be interested in watching for the last hour? So the oral fixation, you know, don't call me out here. If I save here, is there anything that you guys particularly want to see? 09? That's me, that's him. He might have an oral fixation. He has a fixation with thighs, that's for sure.